Yes, I can. Today we have come to this very important forum, the 14th Hydrovision Conclave 2022. The 13th happened online and the 12th happened in Bhutan. That is the last physical function which happened. So India, after this hall, in 2019, we released the Bhutan Brandish. My book After India Brandish was released. It was released by, that photo if I have, I'll share with everybody, was by Bansal Saab, Yogendra Prasad and a lot of other hydro stalwarts were there. Tarun Kapoor was also here. At the same place, it was released, a book on Bhutan, which is one of the most popular books written by any outsider for Bhutan. For them, I'm an outsider, but they don't treat me like that. They keep telling me, Arsab, when you come, we feel Bhutanese have come here, you know. So itni to unki, humne matlab, this kind of influence in Bhutan is there. But I'm happy to say that on one side is a sad day because today is the Nirvana day of Yogendra Prasad Saab. He was born on 6th of April 1945. So the biography we have tried to do justice. Today people don't read much, so it has to be kept within 100 pages. So it's a very unique biography, so we'll release this. The other part is a white paper on hydropower, which the Honorable Chairman of NHPC and a lot of other stalwarts sitting over here, they are pushing us कि यार साहब white paper आ जानी चाहिए किसी तरह से. And I think even Bhatnagar Saab always felt that हमें करना चाहिए. वो तो कहते हैं, I said there should be hydro fund. So he was the one who rose and said it's a great idea. So very important area because our per capita, for common people to understand, our per capita access to water is barely 50 liters now, which is a minimum requirement of 160 liters as per the WHO standard for even healthy living. So I go by that. And for the rural, we are only at 30 liters. So we are in a crisis. If you don't realize, it's a problem. At my suburb in Dombali, I get a water supply per day of 45 minutes. Sometimes only 35 minutes. And we have storages that keep us on. So if we are not opening our eyes to this crisis, it is a crisis of not building hydropower. Because hydro are basically storage projects. Electricity is a byproduct. And then there are multi-purpose benefits. So we are overloading everything onto the top of the tariff and then you're saying it's viable nahi hai. So solar is a great project. You know, in a way we are also in a way sort of बोलते ना encouragers of solar. क्योंकि हमने क्या किया 100 gigawatt solar की रिपोर्ट लिखी वो 2013 में पांडेन साहब के साथ गुजरात में. That was the starting point of the whole game. Before there was Shyam Saran ji who told me अय्यर साहब हम तो ये 1200 मेगावाट का निकाल रहे हैं. मैंने कह दिया साहब छोटी मुँह बड़ी बात पर इसको इतना कम मत बनाइए. ये 1.2 गीगावाट होगी कुछ नहीं होगी आप खाली कहेंगे गीगावाट. तो श्याम सरन जी अग्रीड कहते हैं यार साहब कितनी होगी. आई सेड सर कम से कम 40 गीगावाट का चांस है. 2020 की बात है व्हेन आवर नेशनल सोलर मिशन केम. सो वी आर ऑल्सो आई एम नॉट वर्किंग अगेंस्ट एनी फॉर्म ऑफ पावर. वी आर ट्राइंग टू कंसोलिडेट एंड ट्राइंग टू वर्क आउट अ पॉइंट दैट people must be educated. There is nothing like hydro. It's a 100-year asset life cycle. That's all what has come. You can't compare 25 years. Even a thermal power plant has to be shunned or done away with in 25 years. So no asset, whether it's a solar, wind, can go to the asset life cycle of a hydropower plant. Today Tarun said it could be 200 years. So I was saying 100 years. So I've been conservative. कोई 50 कहता है, कोई 75. पर हमने देखा भाखड़ा आज भी चल रही है. श्री सैलम डैम आज भी है. कोई ना हमारा आज भी है. आप कोई भी बांध देखिए. रिहांड आप जाइए यहाँ पर यूपी में वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट कॉन्क्रीट ग्रेविटी डैम्स है वो आज भी यहाँ पर है आपके पास. सो दीज प्रोजेक्ट्स हैव टू बी अंडरस्टूड फ्रॉम अ वेरी डीप पर्सपेक्टिव. So we are lucky to have people, entire team of NHPCs here, you know, who are responsible for working through in this grassroots of the project. And the great chairman, please give a big hand to them. मैंने तो रेवोल्यूशन करने की बात की है. क्यों मिनी रत्ना कह रहे हैं इनको? भाई इनके एसेट्स ही कुछ 1 लाख करोड़ के हैं. तो मिनी रत्ना कैसे हुई? तो ये डेफिनेशंस पे भी हम गवर्नमेंट को शायद लिखें कि भाई थोड़ी तो इंपॉर्टेंस दो ऐसी कंपनियों को. ये अलग ही कर रही है, बड़ी डिफिकल्ट काम कर रही हैं. हम लोगों ने देखा किस तरह से वो हाइड्रो बनता है, क्या होता है. मिश्रा साहब आज बैठे हैं. मांगदेचू होता नहीं अगर मिश्रा साहब नहीं होते. यस मिश्रा साहब प्लीज़ So you should be all be clapping for him because he's the man who put up that Mangdechu project, the feather in the cap for us. वैसे तो हमने 10,000 मेगावाट बनाने थे पर एक प्रोजेक्ट उसमें से आया वो मांगदेचू था. प्राइम मिनिस्टर inaugurated in 2019 August. I went immediately after and my release of the book happened first there. So that's what it is. Another very important event which our Bansal Saab has pushed into it is, and it's a right idea, it is Saksham basically from the IOCL. I'm also working in a different dimension with IOCL, which I must tell you. We released the white paper on SATAT. SATAT was already there as a scheme because Dharmendra Pradhan Saab ke time pe SATAT aayi thi, but somehow there was some kind of slowdown. So Tarun Kapoor, who knew me from the days of Himachal Pradesh, then became Joint Secretary Solar, then he was at the, he was the Vice Chairman of this organization DDA, where our Bansal Saab also has come from the DDA. So it was a record of history, and then he was telling me, I'm only cooling my heels, I'll be back in the energy sector. So where he was petroleum secretary. तो उन्होंने बुलाते कहा, यार साहब एक चीज़ है जिसको हमें ठीक करना है. मैंने कहा क्या हुआ? ये बहुत बड़ा potential है SATAT का, पर what can we do in this? So I went. It took us some 6 to 8 months. We were luckily supported by a German major called Evonik. They have this interesting technology which is put up in Haryana for CBG production. और ये वहाँ रोहतक में लगा हुआ है. It is a world class plant. 7 tons per day वो produce करता है from bio waste. And what is the waste input? It is press mud combined with cow dung. 100 TPD cow dung जाता है, buffalo dung, और 150 ton per day is press mud, which is a sugarcane waste. So it's a dynamic project, beautifully done over there, but I think we need more of them. That's the ideal size, but our size could be 10 to 20 tons. Because if we want viability more of these projects and IRR above 15%, it is possible because IOCL Shantanu ji told me, अरे साहब हमें 13% लगता है, पर मैंने कैलकुलेशन दिखाया कि 15 भी हो रहा है. Range. He said he's fine. Same way I went to IOCL, Mr. Sikdar. We have a beautiful interview of Sikdar Saab, and ED Panipat has said that every village can have one bio-CNG plant. इस पे तालियां बजाइए. जो revolution hydro की है, ये अगली revolution है. We may stop actually importing too much of gas if it happens, because this could not only generate CBG. If we use the raw biogas and just deliver power along with Kusum, we hybrid. The Kusum scheme was our letter to Prime Minister Modi in in April 2016. It took a form as Kusum, but my letter was pro bono power to rural. So हर गांव में 1-2 मेगावाट की सोलर प्लांट लग जाएगी, कम से कम 6 घंटे बिजली मिल जाएगी. बाकी we can do through small hydro and other combination factor. And one of the areas is 24/7 access to electricity without getting into current dynamics, because grid से आप power देंगे कभी दे नहीं पाएंगे. So this was the other idea. So it can generate power in situ 24/7, 6 hours of solar, and बाकी ये कर लेगा. Maybe 18 hours or whatever they can. This can, or 15 hours, whatever. But the village will get access to electricity using CBG. क्योंकि raw biogas से direct CBG ना बना के, if we put power plant, decentralized power can also be generated. I come from that industry. We did this plant 2011 for a Goshala in Jabalpur. We put up 1.4 megawatt only using buffalo and cow dung. And this is done by Dr. Hridesh Khanna, my senior in Germany. And he was in MTU, he was a chief. So the MTU engines came, and this is an operating plant. So ऐसा कोई ये नहीं कि नहीं हुआ है. Only thing is these are islands of excellence. They have not been multiplied across. So with this small thing, I think I would like to call all my stalwarts onto the dais. May I request, Tyaga is there, Tyagarajan is there? Okay, or somebody can, आप आ जाओ. पहले हमारे धर्माधिकारी साहब को आप ले आइए. Please welcome S.K. Dharmadhikari ji. I'll make a simpler introduction. He was the chief of HCC for many years. He is the builder of the first Golden Quadrilateral project, which is the Mumbai-Pune Expressway. इसके लिए ताली बजाइए. पहले expressway. He is also the man who has built the Mumbai Sea Bridge. वो Sea Bridge तो हमारी मतलब international शान है. उस पर भी तालियां बजा दीजिए. Welcome, Sangeeta. Welcome. So, Sangeeta ji, I introduce probably the only woman power on the stage. She was close to Yogendra Prasad ji, just like Prasad Saab enabled inertia and REPA. Same way the Institute of Economic Studies was enabled by Prasad Saab. So that's one of the main reasons that I have called her, because of course she's a very lovely human being. So may I request therefore the woman power to come first. आप आ जाइए, seat ले लीजिए अपना. Please welcome Sangeeta Singh, President of Institute of Economic Studies. Yeah, ma'am. And may I immediately call Bansal Saab. Actually मैं पहले बुलाना चाहिए, लेकिन हमारे वी आर बोथ हॉस अपनी सिचुएशन में है. हाँ जी बिल्कुल, चेयरमैन ऑफ इंडिया एम. प्लीज गिव अ बिग हैंड टू हिम. ही इज माई सीनियर alumnus from the NIT Kurukshetra, and he is an amazing man. In fact, this management institution has received 3 times the Excellence Award for being the best industry interface institute under the AICT CIS survey, which they started. All the 3 years, it is NDM. Please give a big hand again. All the students must clap more because आप इधर के students हैं ना. And this is a big thing because there are IIMs, there are other things, but NDIM is the institution that has been recognized. I am in a small way associated with them, helping out in the corporate thinking, and we have an MOU for renewable energy, which is called the REPA, NDIM Center of Excellence in Renewable Energy. आपको बताना था सर, ये हमने शुरू किया है. We need a lot of help from you, sir, in this, definitely to grow this. Next, may I request G.N. Mathur Saab, our ex-secretary of Central Board of Irrigation and Power, to please come. I'm going by a little bit seniority of order, so please pardon me for this. And he is a stalwart. He goes nowhere, but he said, "आपके लिए आएंगे." So that's great love from him. आइए माथुर साहब, always a great love. May I request A.B. Agarwal Saab, the former chairman of Bhakra Bihar Management Board. He's also got into Adhyatma now, more into the Hare Rama Hare Krishna movement. But yes, he has come for us, so give him another big hand. We have another great stalwart. It is Rajiv Bhatnagar. He is the ED of Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, a company that I admire and a man I admire. He's a dynamic person. I think today BHL, I look forward to a lot of things happening in BHL under him. And of course the chairman and MD of BHL currently. They're a dynamic organization. I think they are a gem company of India, and we must really encourage this company. Or another stalwart, each one is a stalwart. Line of order को तोड़ दीजिए आप. एक आदमी एक से बड़ा है. Now I have to call A.K. Mishra Saab, who created the Mangdechu project. I have already introduced him. Please give a big hand. Now let me call another mega stalwart. It is none other than S.G. Paretkar. S.G. Paretkar, I will only introduce him the way I have been introducing him. The creator and builder of the Atal Tunnel. Please give him a big hand. And also the builder of the Anaram Barrage, one of the largest barrages in India, in Telangana, for the water supply, for the government. Aye, sir. May I request our general manager from IOCL today for and Saksham and the promotion of all these things, and also definitely, as I told you, CBG, I'm very happy that IOCL is here. We will request Anupam Hari to be here. Please give him a big hand. Taliyan jor se. Let me call my other stalwart who's come from Bombay all the while only because we not only made friends, but he is gung-ho about hydro also, and also of CG and all new projects that will come. A great businessman. He is like, we have Federation of Indian Exporting Organization, we know. Similarly, we have always there is a contrapunto or the other side of it, Importers Organization, Indian Importers Chambers of Commerce and Industry. It's a structure, there are 4 directors, but all the directors are equal, and one of the driving forces, Rajesh Kathwas, and he's a heavyweight, you can see it literally, you know. So he's amongst us today. So please give him, he's a smiling and happy businessman. So I like him for the way he holds himself up. Rajesh is a wonderful gentleman, wonderful human being, and a future businessman of India. He's got big dreams, and he doesn't declare them in public, but he wants to be one of the top corporate level people in the country. He's already doing great work. Congratulations for coming here, sir. Great difficulty, huh? As this time. And then we have none other than K.K. Gupta. K.K. Gupta was the former vice president with Larsen Toubro Limited. Of course, my grandfather, so give big hand. Why I like this company always is my grandfather stopped Hawk Larsen and Toubro from going out of India. Circa 1947, 15th August, the night. Nehru Saab was giving speech here. My father was stopping Hawk Larsen Toubro from catching a flight to Mauritius. They had a private aircraft right outside where they have the plants in Bombay today. So that is history. So somehow I'm connected to the history. Namaskar साहब. किसी दिन मैं सोच रहा हूँ उनकी एक लेटर आपके सुब्रमण्यम साहब को दे के आऊँगा. ये historical letter है when my grandfather did not accept the offer, but when he came, जब बनी नहीं एक साल में, फिर आप क्यों मेरे को सैलरी दे रहे हैं खाली फोकट, तो उनकी फेयरवेल करी गई थी, you know, within 1 year. So that was the thing. Anyway, it's all old story. So we have all of them here, and we have one more gentleman, the great man, एंड नो लेस. देखिए क्या आखिर तक अभी मैं और भी लोग नीचे बैठे हैं स्टैलवर्ट, लेकिन हमारे पास जगह नहीं है, वो बात है. वी हैव ग्रीन को आवर फ्रेंड हु इज राइट हियर, नंदा साहब. Let me call D.P. Goyal, another great stalwart who built one of the fastest projects in India called the Karcham Wangthu hydroelectric scheme. He was the director in JP Ventures. So, and we know Jayaprakash Group is a big group. In fact, Jayaprakash Gorji got our second Inertia Awards after his institution, Lifetime Achievement. After the first was given to Dr. V. Krishnamurthy, the founder of PHL. And we know what Dr. Krishnamurthy was, sir. You know? So we have all the advantage of these stalwarts in front of you today, coming to this great institution. So first, without wasting a little minute, may I request somebody to bring the books first, so that we start with Prasad Saab's book. And before that, I want Bansal Saab to say a few words today. Can you get Bansal Saab a few words, please? Best of luck.
It's a pleasure, Professor Iyer. I must tell everybody that he's been a part of us as Associate Dean for the last about 5 years. And we have been doing a lot of activities around sustainability with his support, rather I would say with his leadership. And so when this came, and of course it has been always unsure whether we'll be able to do a physical event or not. But we were very keen this time to have it physically, because sustainability continues to be a kind of a big vision, big thought, and big kind of a goal and aim for all of us. I'm extremely grateful to all the big stalwarts, some of whom have been decorating us, coming to us time and again. Whenever there's a request is made, they're here. And some new great leaders are here with us today. I very heartily thank each one of them for being with us. In fact, for the students and the faculty, I must tell you that it's only around 12:30 in the night. I thought I'll request the chairman AICT to be coming here today. I sent him a mail around maybe 1 o'clock in the night. And you see the great man, he responded to me at 4:30 in the morning. Okay. He says, I'm traveling early morning and I'll be back in Delhi only after 5 days. And I wish greatest success. You people are doing a great leadership role in academics in the field of sustainability. So I just want to tell the students over here that this one field which there's big vacuum, and that's a field which you people can lead, you can conquer, you can be the first in every sphere of this field. I do not know any other institutions where the support of such leaders who are sitting at the dais, leaders who are sitting in the Audi, whether that support is there to any other institution in the country. And of course, I was just coming here. I got late by 5 minutes because I was to attend a reception, marriage reception of a very senior journalist. So in that, I met so many journalists who have been part of my life in the last 30 years in Delhi. And all of them were very equivocal that NDM is doing tremendous great work, that we are different from all others, that we are doing with a purpose, that we are delivering with a purpose. And they wanted us to lead the show in the fields which we are yet to explore. Sustainability continues to be one of them. So please, I'm again repeating to all the students over here, because you will not get a teacher or a professor or a handholder like Professor Iyer. Okay, I tell it everywhere to everybody that whatever he speaks, let me tell you, मेरे तो दिमाग के ऊपर से चला जाता है. Okay, I must honestly confess it. But if you people, because you have to make your careers, if you people take him seriously, there's a big way to go. Especially in countries like Norway. I mean, there are about 50 countries in the world. वहाँ पे इतनी जॉब्स हैं, इतनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं that it is unbelievable. Okay, so since we are working with the Norwegian people also, with the universities also, so I mentioned to the counselor this morning, I sent me details here, that why should he not be again doing something with us onto these things. So I would suggest to you that whatever MBA you are studying, please carry on with that, but take this also as your additional learning. You have seen every day your seniors in senior positions, every day they are talking to you about learning and relearning. Every day they are doing some new programs on AI or ML and extra, or etc., etc. But I have not seen anybody doing any learning or relearning in the field of sustainability. Okay, so big scope lies for you. That is why we have been working very seriously, at least for the last 12 months, that we teach you something and we give you a certificate of sustainability officer whenever you appear for any interview. In addition to your 2 MBAs, tell them that I am also sustainability officer, certified sustainability officer. And that is what we have been working with Professor Iyer. That is what SOCHM signed an MOU with us 3 years back. SOCHM wanted to take all these training programs from us, and so that SOCHM, Mr. Iyer, RIPA and NDM, we do it together. But I have been telling Mr. Iyer that let's do it our own. Why should we need SOCHM stamp? So, but in any case, it's a skill that is needed. You may have a stamp, you may not have a stamp. So please take it as your career, and that's the reason, despite all the odds, we're trying to do this event in the physical mode. Thank you very much once again, all the people. And yes, of course, later on you'll come to know about the MOU that is being signed today with the UNESCO MGIP. That is one MOU. In fact, let me tell my colleagues here, only yesterday I sent that WhatsApp poster to whatever groups I had. So every senior academic person from the country and every senior officer of the country has appreciated that this UNESCO arrangement is going to be a very big help to the students' careers. So my request to you is, please take your studies very seriously. Another 6 months you are going to be getting finest of the jobs. So do not stay a normal MBA. Try to be much above that. And that will happen only if you enter into newer fields. Thank you very much. Extremely grateful to all the great stalwarts over here. I'll be, in fact, expecting all of them also to kindly tell us what exactly the industry is looking for from the new graduates in the sustainability field, so that when they come and work with you, you find them better than all other students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bansal Sahab. Always the words of encouragement. Of course, for almost 15 years, I started with a publishing issue of Inertia, then another magazine called Marconomy, 15 years into publishing. Then the game started. We needed to convert to movements. So Inertia Foundation was born, Renewable Energy Association was born, and REPA is doing a great job. I can tell you that we're getting good traction in what we are trying to achieve. Because other than the government body IREDA, which is also becoming a financial body, we are not into that, but we are also trying a very innovative thing of talking about exclusive funds in renewable energy, including the hydro funds. So REPA would be not sitting idle just by being an association alone, but we would be pushing into development of renewable energy financing in the country. So this is my commitment the next time. Let me get the book. That's the first job. Today is the D-Day of Shri Great Yogendra Prasad, our Guru. And Hydro Guru is the best word, I thought. And today somebody just told me, Professor, ये बड़ा अच्छा आपने लिखा है, Hydro Guru. मैंने कहा और कोई शब्द मुझे icon लिख दिया, सब मैंने वो सब नीचे कर दिया. Basically, Hydro Guru, there is nobody like him. And we not only remember him, but I was lucky to learn a lot of things from him in the hydro sector, including the management of grid frequencies. These are all tough topics, but these will be the future challenges for our country. So let us get the book, please. It's there with all of you, so I think we'll have to rise and release each one of you. Open it up. And Tyaga, can I get one copy so that I can hold with them? It is there? No, that's the different one. That's the white paper. खुल गए सबके सर? Yes, sir. Please give a big hand for this book, please. हो गया? So thank you everybody. This was my second biography. The first one I wrote on Atalji was 2016, Atal Shastra. Right now it's out of print. Well, mostly I'm doing self-publishing from our own resources. So it's quite difficult sometimes. People think that print industry बड़ी आसानी से जिएगी, नहीं, सबसे tough job है sir. As an engineer I come, I've seen B2B and publishing in specialist area, most difficult area, believe me. And I knew it from the day one because when Santosh Goenka of the Indian Express, he was my mentor for starting all these things. But Goenka साहब को तभी मैंने कह दिया था सर ये डिजिटल सारा काम होगा, प्रिंट की ऑब्ituary लिखी जाएगी एक तरह से, पर एक चीज़ ज़रूर नहीं मरेगी, वो B2B नहीं मरेगी, वो अपना काम करती रहेगी अपने तरीके से. So that's what exactly is happening today. Specialist media and specialist domain publishing will sustain in some ways or other, but we have to be very frugal. It's not like you can't have pomp and show business of doing everything. So that's what it's all. Yes, our CSR activities, when we can give our tribute to people like Yogeshwar Prasad and maybe a few more people. I am working on a book on Narasimha Rao ji after Prime Minister Vajpayee. It's my second book on a political, I would say, figure. So let's see how it comes out. It's called Narasimha Sutra. That's the title I've decided. Atal Shastra था. तो अटल जी की बुक की फॉरवर्ड लिखी थी योगेंद्र प्रसाद जी ने. अब देखिए क्या फेट एंड डेस्टिनी करती है कि आई एम रिलीजिंग हिज बुक टुडे हियर. So thank you all for being with us. And now let us get the white paper also. And I think we have a few books. I think some NHPC people wanted. We'll definitely share at least 1 or 2 copies. And one for your CMD so you can take it for him from our side. Digitally, everybody will get the book. We just need your email IDs or mobile number, whichever way. If you want to get it in WhatsApp, it's not going to cost. It's absolutely free. कोई हमें कहेगा वेबसाइट छपी हुई भेज दो तो हम कहेंगे उसकी कॉस्ट और कुरियर चार्जेस दे दीजिएगा. हमें इसमें कुछ, वी आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन एनी कमर्शलाइजेशन ऑफ द बुक. वी वांट मोर पीपल टू रीड अबाउट प्रसाद एंड देयर इज नथिंग लाइक डिजिटल व्हेन द होल थिंग इज कमिंग. वी विल बी लोडिंग इट ऑन अ सर्टन यूरोपियन वेबसाइट वेयर वी आर अलाउड टू डू फ्री. सो उसमें से भी डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं या फिर अगर आप हमसे पर्सनल रिक्वेस्ट करें विल सेंड यू द कंसर्न PDF. So this book everybody must read. So don't feel shy. Anybody wants to read about what, and this is a crisp book. It's a 76-page book, but those 76 like 7,600 पेज भी लिखेंगे तो उससे बढ़िया हमने वो चीज़ें लिखी हैं उसके अंदर. And I've tried to select those areas of his interest, including his work with some political people like A.B. Ghanikant Chaudhary. Then great relationship he shared with him. I don't know, our generation will not know. He was the first great railway minister of India. And Ghanikant Chaudhary Saab comes from Malda. And I tell you, what a politician he was. If any of the current politicians want to take an example or learn from a man who built a lot of things for India. And Prasad was like, आप कह सकते हैं कि he was like in love with Prasad Saab. A.B. Ghanikant Chaudhary would always call him as a man Friday for what work he wants to do. अच्छा वो वहाँ तक ख़त्म नहीं हुआ, उसके आगे भी हुआ. उसके बाद क्या हुआ कि देयर वाज दिग्विजय सिंह. जब ये इंदिरा सागर बनी तो वो हमेशा कहते थे विदाउट दिग्विजय सिंह, वो मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर थे, उन्हें समझ आती थी चीज़ें, तो ये बात मुझे कहते थे वो प्रसाद साहब. सो वी कुड बिल्ड इंदिरा सागर इन द टाइम वी कुड डू इन द शॉर्ट टाइम एंड डेमोन्स्ट्रेट दैट 1000 मेगावाट विथ स्टोरेज, मैसिव स्टोरेज कुड कम इन 4-5 years फ्लैट. ओंकारेश्वर भी बहुत बढ़िया प्रोजेक्ट था, तो कोई एंड नहीं है. चमेरा का हम बात करें तो वी दिस एंडलेस, दोस आई हैव रिटन दोस नगेट्स, दोस स्टोरीज अबाउट. एंड वंस वाज अ वेरी चैलेंजिंग सिचुएशन. That time, I don't want to name the secretary or who did it, but basically क्या था, it was a merger of NHPC into NTPC. इसको प्रसाद साहब ने टूथ एंड नेल अपोज किया और उन्होंने उल्टा प्लान दे दिया, merger of NTPC with NHPC, and he gave the plan. The best part is he gave the plan. और उसके बाद क्या हुआ, इसको शेल कर दिया गया आइडिया को ही. So he was a man who never compromised actually. He had his heart and soul for this company, and he built it, and he was always in love with hydro. But I would go a little bit step further. When we gave him the Lifetime Achievement Award that time, it was like, many people in my jury also started murmuring in the sides. वो कंट्रोवर्शियल है, ये है, वो है. मैंने कहा कुछ नहीं, जो आदमी कंट्रोवर्सी नहीं करेगा वो आदमी नहीं. आज हम कोई सही बात बोलते हैं कंट्रोवर्शियल हो जाएगा, ठीक है ना. So he was a great man. He loved hydropower. He built them with his own style. He would take decision. He was a great decision maker. In fact, today I was talking to Tarun in the morning. I would try to get the time. We'll put that video. He has clearly said he made decisions. Prasad Saab is like that. So no people in the government who make decision are rare. And decision means अपने बल पे वो कभी-कभी रिस्क भी लेते थे इतने बड़ी-बड़ी. एक बार रेलवे लाइन ही हटा दी गई थी without any consent. और वो डाइवर्ट करके रेलवे लाइन लगा दी गई थी with investment. I don't want to talk about how much money and all was spent, but it was done. And that was accepted that he did it. It would take him so much of time. The railways was very angry that Prasad साहब ने वो रेलवे लाइन ही हटा दी हैं, but उन्होंने वो रेलवे हटा ही नहीं, उसकी डाइवर्शन करके सब इन्फॉर्मेशन थी इनके पास. When things wait forever, then projects don't get built. So he went to that extent. Of course, I have not included this part in everything. Everything cannot be included in a short, quick book where we need to encourage people to read. Maybe as I go along in the future, I keep upgrading my books. So more things will come. So it will grow. So it will grow on you. Once you have read, there's an ugly edition चाहिए. You want to know more stories on him. It's mind-boggling. Some very good stories are there inside. It will be a great thing for management students to understand how success is brought. So with this, I want the release of the white paper also. This was his dream also. He wanted, Iyer Sahab, एक white paper करिए, SWOT analysis करिए. So we are doing all these things on this day. This white paper is thanks to Abhay Kumar Singh ji's input. NHPC chairman, please give him a big hand. Some input from BHL as well. One project of Gadgar is mentioned where their name comes. ठीक है. Thank you. Thank you all for releasing this white paper. We have made a crisp 20-page content where almost all the problems of the hydropower has been listed. And also why need of hydro is there, because you can't operate. I was talking to the chairman NHPC and we came to the same conclusion. We have 400 gigawatt, but we cannot operate 400 gigawatt because there is barely hydro compared to what is the other sort of infirm power. 51 gigawatt of solar, about 40 gigawatt of wind. And thermal is about 205 gigawatt at this point. So in the 400 gigawatt train, even to operate our thermal power plants, we need the support of hydro, the flexible load. And then the other part of the story is we don't have gas. And in fact, 24.9 gigawatt of gas power plants are there, but we are operating only 5 gigawatt. So this also was one of the fights I took to Kapoor Saab, but of dynamics of gas industry, we know what's happening. But if our 20 gigawatt of gas power plants are fired, they could save us in the short run. At least for the next 2 years, they could save us from power crisis. But वो नहीं हो पा रहा है. तो coal से वो हम power crisis निकाल नहीं पाएंगे. Coal is a base load supply, continuous supply plant. And there happens the peak shaving. Whenever the loads come in, more loads suddenly come throughout the day in different forms, times of the day. When the peaks happen in urban peaks come, and the shaving can only be done through hydro or through gas power plants. So that is a technical issue. So grid, and another technical issue is the grid frequency, which cannot be maintained without these. So these are all the things that are there. But since we have, great stalwarts amongst us, but before I go forward, I want Sangeeta Singh to say a few words because she was closely associated with Prasad Saab. तो आपको कुछ बोलना पड़ेगा, madam. Please come.
गुड आफ्टरनून लेडीज़ एंड जेंटलमैन। योगेंद्र प्रसाद जी एक ऐसी शख्सियत जो किसी भी तवज्जो के मोहताज नहीं है। उनकी ऐसी हमारे अंदर छवि, हमारे अंदर एक अपनापन, उनसे इतना कुछ हमें सीखने का मौका मिला है। I was the executive director of Institute of Economic Study when he joined as the president of IES. 2014. Got so much to learn from him. Under his leadership, he was an icon. उनके लिए जितना कहा जाए कम है। वो हमारे बीच ना हो के भी हमारे बीच हैं। कहते हैं ना कि जो चले जाते हैं वो वापस नहीं आते, पर नहीं, वो रह जाते हैं हमारे अंदर, हमारी आदतों में, हमारे व्यवहार में, हमारे सोचने के ढंग में। आज भी जब इंस्टीट्यूट की प्रेसिडेंट होने के बाद कुछ मैं निर्णय लेती हूँ तो हमेशा सोचती हूँ अगर प्रसाद साहब होते तो वो क्या सोचते, कैसे करते। He was a man with one track mind, thinking about good towards humanity. हम सब ह्यूमंस हैं, पर लोगों को समझना, उनकी दर्द को समझना हमें ह्यूमन बीइंग बनाता है। He was really a man in himself. He was too great. सिर्फ 6 years का एक्सपीरियंस मुझे मिला है उनके साथ, बट जितना भी मिला है, I was lucky enough to have him as a mentor. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
You know, she said the perfect thing, because I lost my younger brother in the year 2015. It was very painful. But the kind of relationship Prasad Saab shared with Prakash was just unbelievable. As the chairman of my jury of the Anasha Awards, it was this gentleman who was polio affected on the lower limbs. And वो मेरे लिए spinal cord and backbone थे. I went through a shock of my life. Because for a year I was not the same person, believe me. तो उस समय मुझे जो सांत्वना दिया होगा, उनमें से प्रसाद साहब एक बहुत बड़े आदमी थे. He used to say that he lives with you. These were the words. He lives in you. प्रसाद साहब कहते थे. मुझे कभी रोना भी आता था तो प्रसाद साहब was the man who used to stop me. कहते थे घर आओ, सत्तू पिलाता हूँ आपको, प्लीज़ कम एंड सिट. उसमें ये बातें भी होती थी. प्रकाश से काफ़ी इंटरेक्ट करते थे, मेरे से पहले उनसे ज़्यादा इंटरेक्ट करते थे, क्योंकि वो एग्जीक्यूटिव पब्लिशर एंड इनफैक्ट ही वाज द इनविजिबल मैन बट डूइंग एवरीथिंग. इतने बड़े बड़े फंक्शंस हमने किए हैं एंड इट वाज प्रकाश वाज डूइंग. सो प्रसाद एंड प्रकाश, आई वुड से आई वाज लकी टू हैव टू. बट दिस young man, you know, at 46 he went because of his locomotor deficiency after polio. So that was a loss, but that loss also, Prasad Saab, little bit got me back into the system. That when somebody is shocked to that extent, he forgets everything, right? So उसमें से भी मैं निकला उनके कारण. So she is absolutely right on that, you know. So it's a very emotional thing. So when we go back, we get into some feelings. So I would like to avoid जितना भी हो सके, but the hard reality is that is a reality. It lives in you. वो आप में से निकलेगी नहीं, तो वो रहेगी. एंड आई ऑलवेज रिमेंबर प्रसाद साहब. एवरी डे मॉर्निंग, यू विल नॉट बिलीव मी व्हाट प्रेयर्स आई डू. आई प्रेयर टू माई ग्रैंड फादर. समटाइम्स आई रिमेंबर माई फादर. वो 5 मिनट का भी नहीं होता. एंड देन आई प्रे टू माई ब्रदर. अब आई प्रे टू प्रसाद जी ऑल्सो. व्हाट कैन वी डू, क्योंकि यही भगवान है हमारे लिए. तो मुझे तो कुछ, आई एम अग्नोस्ट, आई डोंट गो टू टेम्पल्स टू मच. मैं कुछ करता नहीं हूँ. बाकी अय्यर कहते हैं सर आप तो ब्राह्मण हैं, आप फलाना है, ढिकना, हम कुछ नहीं है. वी आर अ ह्यूमन बीइंग. So Prasad Saab and me, some people used to come. सर वो बिहार से हैं, आप तमिलनाडु से हैं ओरिजिनली. मैंने कहा यार मैं तमिल बोलता हूँ, लिखता पढ़ता नहीं हूँ. मैं ज़्यादा हिंदी बोलता हूँ बिकॉज ब्रॉट अप इन फरीदाबाद. मैं यहाँ बड़ा हुआ, मैंने स्पोर्ट्स खेला, मैंने सब कुछ किया. आई वेंट टू NIT लाइक नंदा साहब एंड बंसल साहब. वी आर फ्रॉम द सेम कॉलेज, NIT कुरुक्षेत्र. हमारी वही अपब्रिंगिंग है. एक मिनी इंडिया होता था हमारे टाइम पे, सारे इंडियन बने, हार्ट इंडियन है. तो प्रसाद साहब वॉज अ ग्रेट इंडियन, आई टेल यू. मोतिहारी से आए एंड ये सब चीज़ें लिखिए. फर्स्ट चैप्टर में पढ़ेंगे, मज़ा आएगा कि हाउ ही वाज इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय गांधी जी. एट द सेम टाइम ही हैड इंक्लिनेशन टू द बुद्धिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी. ही वाज अ वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स मैन फॉर सम, बट फॉर मी ही वाज अ सिंपल गाय, completely agnostic, straightforward and fantastic. So fine sir, and so can we have a few words on hydropower itself, because that was his best bet. And may I start with Dharmadhikari Sahib to say a few words. Of course, a few words on Prasad, but how to bring hydro back into the stage.
So, can you listen to me? Can you hear me?
वैसे नहीं, वो देखो बेटा, माइक देखो.
This is working now.
Hello? Okay, now you can hear me, no? Okay. See, first thing I will like to take a pardon of all of you. I will be talking while sitting only because I have got a vertigo problem and it is very difficult for me to stand for a long time. So with all permission from all of you, I will be sitting and talking to you. It is a talk, it is not a lecture. That much I will say you. Now second thing, hydro. Now first thing, I started my career as an engineer in the atomic energy projects. And atomic energy reactors I was building. And how I came to hydro, I also don't know. But when I was knowing what is meant by gelatin stick, or what is meant by a detonator, or what is meant by a tunnel and how the tunnel is blasted, I came to hydro. At that time, hydro was equal to underground excavation. So I came to hydro by chance, but I liked that thing and I remained in hydro till today. So these many years I have been working here, and people like Mr. Iyer and all the stalwarts, my colleagues who are here, they are my gurus also. They kept me here, or they permitted me to be here with all my deficiencies and everything. I am really feeling very bad, and sometimes I am feeling sorrow when I see that hydro has been given a back seat in the energy sector. Now why a back seat? It was a prime player in the energy sector, and people worked in that thing with their sweat and all efforts, and they brought it to this level. So we will have to decide on this thing, how to bring it back. It is not a lost time, but it is a time to rethink and see what best can be done to bring hydro in the original position. Now there it can be discussed. It is not a subject of discussion at this moment or in this forum. We can have a separate forum. I will request Mr. Iyer for that thing.
Right,
because
sir.
he is a person full of energies. I really appreciate him, that how much he has got this energy, which is not, the drum of which is not getting emptied, and it is always full. So I will request him that please arrange a forum, or please arrange a event on the hydro sector only. This I have talked with him many times. We sit many times together and discuss about this, and our only subject of talk is hydro, because this is the common interest between Mr. Iyer and myself. And in fact, Mr. Iyer has got so many other matters in which he is interested, but I have got hydro. Because I don't know much anything about that thing. He knows so many things actually. So this we will discuss next time. Now talking about Mr. Prasad. I am not a person who can describe him completely. You people must be remembering an advertisement which was coming on the TV for Raymond shootings.
Right.
There the small child puts his hand on the coat of his father and he says, a complete man. So like that, Mr. Yogendra Prasad was a complete engineer. I will put him
great.
as a complete engineer. See what he was not. He was a politician. He was a crisis arranging or crisis resolving person. He was an engineer. He was a hydro engineer. He was a mechanical engineer. I remember one lecture given by him in the event arranged by Mr. Iyer only, in which he gave the energy factor and how the energy can be utilized to its full extent, and I was really surprised that what study this man has done. And he is talking so fluently as if he is the originator of this or a generator of this idea.
Right,
So
sir.
that was his talent, that was his skill. So I really remember him. I have not worked under him, but I was in NHPC when he was the chairman of NHPC, and I knew him. I visited him in the house also. I visited him in his office also, and I was really thankful to God that he gave me a chance of talking to such a brilliant person in hydro sector, which I consider as my sector also. Okay, that's okay, and I will not take much of your time. Only thing I will thank here Mr. Iyer, who is arranging such events. It is really wonderful, and I told you people that his energy, I am really surprised that how his energy is remaining at the same level. Because if you put a water even in a closed container, after some time because of evaporation or something, etc., the level goes down. Here there is no evaporation, there is no, but the level remains the same. And I really thank God that he has given such a person for this sector, who is trying to bring this sector to the original level. Let us all help him. And I am requesting Mr. Iyer here on this thing that please arrange an event to see the situation of hydro and how to keep hydro at the same position or take it up. That is, I am requesting him.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Wonderful. Always a great motivation, sir. May I now request, our BHL, Rajiv Bhatnagar Sahab, to say a few words, sir.
The great stalwarts on the dais, Professor Iyer, and audience and dear students. It's a really great honor to be here on this event today. At BHL, in fact, we have been working on energy sector, whether it is thermal, hydro, nuclear, gas, solar. The hydro sector, in fact, we had been working right since, in fact, our BHL factory at Bhopal is responsible for setting up majority of electromechanical packages for hydro sector. And it is in this connection that BHL had worked very closely with Prasad Saab also. Unfortunately, personally, I could not meet him during his last days, but while the projects were going on, yes, I had an opportunity. I would only like to just carry forward few thoughts what Dr. Bansal was mentioning with regards to students. I'm taking that opportunity because I'm always looking forward to youngsters coming and joining these services. While we are talking of hydro or sustainability for that matter, let me call it, you need not be engineers alone, to look at these sectors. Invariably, we think about it that it's only engineers who can probably get into these areas. You may come from any area, any field of understanding. After getting these inputs with regards to the various management issues, the one and most important thing is to look at things very innovatively. And when I am talking of innovatively, I mean, just tell me, 15, 20 years ago, who would have thought of that even Twitter can be monetized or, Google can be monetized? That's how probably we have to look at each sector. So sustainability, we always say that, whenever we talk of sustainability, probably it is going to add on to the cost. There are many financial models and financial engineering that can be done. And probably that's where you can draw your strength from after getting inputs from the great people over here in your faculty. Look at it from that perspective. There are many areas on which we can work. Professor Iyer had been talking of, various areas like CBG, compressed biogas. We need not think of large projects, huge projects, even at a sustainable level. For small, even from the rural sector also, we can do magic for this nation. It's only a question of replicating your efforts. So I would only urge on you that it's a great opportunity for you. The world is looking up to you. We have, as a nation, 2070 as a net zero determination as given by our great Prime Minister. In fact, it is very important for all of us as human beings to have a sustainable future, and I guess you can do a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I would get a twist into it because let's get A.B. Agarwal sahab to say something. We जरा आध्यात्म में ज़्यादा बोलेंगे. आइए साहब. But 5 minutes, sir. Brief.
5 minutes के लिए retirement नहीं.
चलो बढ़िया है sir. Because we are running short of time.
हरे कृष्णा. योगेंद्र प्रसाद जी के लिए आज आपने जो कार्यक्रम का आयोजन किया है, तो उसके लिए मैं अय्यर साहब को बहुत बहुत बधाई देना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि एक हाइड्रोमैन के ऊपर एक किताब को पब्लिश कर देना, ये अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट है. अभी तक मैं नहीं समझता किसी हाइड्रोमैन के ऊपर एक किताब है. पेट्रोलियम सेक्टर में भी मैंने 1-2 किताब देखी हैं. एक तो आईओसी के जो पुराने चेयरमैन थे, फर्स्ट चेयरमैन, उनके बारे में मैंने काफ़ी सुना था, लेकिन हाइड्रो की आज पहली किताब मैंने देखी है कि आपने निकाली है किसी हाइड्रोमैन के लिए. अब हाइड्रो का जो आध्यात्मिक पहलू है, क्योंकि हाइड्रो के बारे में तो सभी स्टॉलवर्ड्स हैं, लेकिन मैं आध्यात्मिक पहलू के लिए इसमें बात करूँगा, अगर आप 2-3 मिनट का टाइम दें. गीता में भगवान ने कहा उसकी 8 शक्तियाँ हैं भगवान की. भूमि, आपो, अनल, वायु, खम, मनु, बुद्धि, एपशा, अहंकार, इतियम वे भिन्ना, तक्ति, अष्टधा. यानी 8 प्रकार की उसकी शक्ति हैं. अर्थ, स्काई, वाटर, एयर, माइंड, इंटेलिजेंस, false ego. जो what gross body we are looking, we are seeing gross body only. We are not seeing the subtle body. So gross body is mainly made of three things. Three things is earth, water, and fire. And the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego. It is made of three things: sky, air, and water. So what is common in these two? Water. First thing. So water, that way water is where most important ingredient of all the things, what we call the Shakti of or energies of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. Now coming to the entire width of our universe, it is 4,000 million miles. And the Garbhodak Sagar, in which Vishnu is taking rest, it is 1980 million miles out of 4,000. So it also signifies the importance of water. That what is the important? It is the one of the biggest, I can say, biggest important item amongst all these five. Then between the materialistic world, we are seeing only one universe. It is 4,000 million miles. Such type of trillions of universes are there. And whatever trillions of universes are there, 3 times of such universes are available in the spiritual world. On this materialistic world, only Jivatma are 5%, and 95% are staying in spiritual world. And this spiritual world and materialistic world, जैसे आपकी 2 देशों की सीमा होती है ना, उसके लिए कुछ होता है, इसी तरह की ये 2 वर्ड हैं, आपका एक आध्यात्मिक, एक भौतिक, और इसको जो डिवाइड करने वाली जो चीज़ है, दैट इज विरजा रिवर. विरजा रिवर हमारा जितना ये यूनिवर्स है ना, इससे भी कई गुने यूनिवर्स के बराबर चौड़ाई है. एंड इट इज़ फ्लोइंग इन 2 डायरेक्शंस, ओनली रिवर. 50% this way, 50% that way. So Lord himself is giving the answer that the most important thing is water. Without water, nothing is possible. So this is the small introduction about the spiritual aspect of hydro. इसके अलावा हमने पिछली बार भी अय्यर साहब की बहुत पहले एक कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई थी. मैंने कहा अगर आप जहाँ तक इसकी बात करते हैं कि आपको कौन सी एनर्जी चाहिए, तब मैंने कहा था जल देवता, वायु देवता, अग्नि देवता. शायद आपको याद हो, और आपने उसके ऊपर काफ़ी अच्छा प्रिंट भी लगाया था कि ये जल देवता, अग्नि देवता, वायु देवता, ये कैसे आया. तो उसमें भी हमने सबसे पहले बोला था जल देवता. नाउ आफ्टर knowing all these things, we have to carry forward whatever challenges are there in the development of hydro. कि कुछ भी चैलेंज आ जाएं, लेकिन जब हमें पता है कि इससे ऊपर कोई चीज़ है ही नहीं, तो इसको करने का हमें प्रयास करना चाहिए. अगर हम नहीं करते तो हम अपने आप को धोखा देते हैं. सो दैट इज़ another ग्रेट थिंग विच आई कांट डिस्कस, दैट इज़ ए लेंथी टॉपिक, कि हमारे अंदर कौन कौन सी डेफिशिएंसी है जिसकी वजह से हम नहीं कर पाते. दैट इज़ ए बिग स्पिरिचुअल टॉपिक. उसके लिए कई घंटों का समय चाहिए, तो उसके लिए ये फॉरम भी नहीं है अभी. तो मैं इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ ये कहूँगा कि योगेंद्र प्रसाद, जहाँ तक मेरा एसोसिएशन है, परैप्स में NHPC में उनमें से कुछ ऐसे लोगों में था जो उनके इनर सर्कल में कभी नहीं रहा. पहली बात मैं आपको बताऊं, तो कुछ लोग होते थे उनके कि वो कहते थे कि हम तो साहब योगेंद्र प्रसाद जी के आदमी हैं. तो लोग बाग घबराते थे, कहते थे योगेंद्र प्रसाद जी एक्शन ले लेंगे, कहीं फेंक फांक देंगे तो उधर. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा मेरे सामने लिया हो, कौन सा कहता है कि मैं उनका आदमी हूँ. मैं एक बड़ी उनकी अच्छी क्वालिटी बताऊँगा इसके माध्यम से. तो कह रहे ये है. मैंने कहा ठीक है, तुमने ये बताया ना कि ये करना उन्होंने बोला है, मैं उनसे सीधी बात कर लूँगा। तो आधे से ज़्यादा लोग भाग गए। वो सोचते थे कि यार अभी तक हमें किसी ने ये नहीं बोला कि हम उनसे जाके वेरीफाई करेंगे। ये एक सीनियर मैनेजर का लेवल का आदमी कह रहा है कि मैं उनसे जाके वेरीफाई करूँगा कि उन्होंने बोला है कि नहीं बोला। तो आधे से ज़्यादा आदमी भाग गए। मैंने कहा, दूसरे लोग कहते थे नहीं ये, मैंने कहा तुमने उनको पहचाना ही नहीं। वो आदमियों को पहचानते हैं सबसे पहले, उन्हें इससे मतलब नहीं कौन इनर सर्कल में कौन आउटर सर्कल में। उनकी सबसे बड़ी पहचान ये है कि कोई कहीं भी हो लेकिन उन्हें उस आदमी की पहचान है कि ये आदमी उस जगह है और ऐसा आदमी है। तो अगर ये बोलेगा चाहे मेरे आदमी को डंडा ठोक दे, मैं इसके लिए एक शब्द भी नहीं बोलूँगा। दिस इज़ द बिगेस्ट क्वालिटी वाट आई हैव सीन इन हिम। अनदर क्वालिटी, फास्ट डिसीजन मेकिंग, वेरी वेरी फास्ट। तो शुरू में तो मैं कभी मिला नहीं उनसे। एक बार किसी फाइल को लेके हमारे बॉस ने कहा कि यार तुम ही जाके करा लो। मैंने कहा ठीक है भाई। मैं गया तो उन्होंने, उसने पीएस ने बोला, मदन पुत्रा जी थे, कि साहब आप 1 मिनट रुक जाइए ना। मैंने कहा 1 मिनट क्यों, हम 10 मिनट भी रुक जाएंगे। कह रहे मैं अभी साइन करा के लाता हूँ। वो गए साइन करा ले। तो मैंने कहा ये तो बड़ी अच्छी चीज़ है, 1 मिनट में ये साइन कर सकते हैं। तो एक बार मैं उनसे शेयर कर रहा था उनके घर पे कि ये चीज़ मैंने जब आपसे सीखी कि 1 मिनट में फाइल क्लियर हो सकती है, तो क्योंकि आदमी की पहचान आपने की है इसलिए आपने 1 मिनट में क्लियर की है। तो व्हेन आई बिकेम चेयरमैन BBMB, आई अडॉप्टेड दिस प्रैक्टिस। उन्होंने कहा, और फिर मैंने उन्हें बताया कि जब मैंने आपसे 1 मिनट देखा ना, तो मैंने ये चैलेंज एक्सेप्ट किया कि मैं इसे आधे पौने मिनट में ही करूँगा। एंड आई डिड द सेम थिंग। मैंने कहा साहब ये कुछ क्वालिटी होती हैं जो सीखी जाती हैं। और इसी तरह का जब चैलेंज आया कि NTPC NHPC के मर्जर की, हाँ जो बताया था, तो उस समय वो एक हमारे बॉस हुआ करते थे, उन्होंने उनसे बोला कि एक भाई कुछ लेटर लिख दो इसके ऊपर जो मैं MPओं को बांटना चाहता हूँ। सो दैट रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी वाज गिवन टू मी एट दैट टाइम। तो हमने 3 पेज का एक वाइट पेपर तैयार किया उस समय। तो वो चला गया। अब लोग बाग मुझसे रोज़ कहें कि यार तुम्हारा नाम छप जाएगा, तुमने खामा पंगा ले लिया। और उसकी कॉपी फिर बताया गया कि वो MPओं ने डिमांड की तो 400 कॉपी हमसे फ़ोटो कॉपी करके मंगाई गई। तो कह रहे अब तो तुम गए। मैंने कहा जो होगा देखा जाएगा, लेकिन मैंने सही लिखा। एंड ऑल द MPs अप्रिशिएटेड। तो एक ये बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर था जब NTPC NHPC का मर्जर चल रहा था, तो उस समय उस पेपर ने काफ़ी काम किया हमारे। तो दीज आर द फ्यू थिंग्स विच आई वांटेड टू से इन ग्लोरिफिकेशन ऑफ मिस्टर योगेंद्र प्रसाद। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
एंड नो 2 people I knew in NHPC। एक तो हमारे वो SK चतुर्वेदी साहब, वो भी कुछ महीनों बाद ही, क्योंकि 22 तारीख को पिछले साल कोविड से प्रसाद साहब का देहांत हुआ बड़े अनटाइमली। उसके कुछ दिनों बाद चतुर्वेदी साहब भी नहीं रहे। एंड यू ऑल विल नो दैट ही वॉज द एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर व्हेन आई मेट हिम एट NHPC। देन ही वेंट फॉर हिज करियर प्रोग्रेस टू पावर ग्रिड। पर उनकी भी बड़ी अच्छी दोस्ती थी और काफ़ी सारे इश्यूज थे। उसके बाद मैं बोलता हूँ मेरे बड़े अच्छे रिलेशनशिप अपने अग्रवाल साहब से रहे। ऑफ कोर्स एवरी चेयरमैन आई बीन फ्रेंडली विद। KM सिंह साहब के साथ भी अच्छी दोस्ती थी। उसके बलराज जोशी के साहब के साथ बहुत दोस्ती थी। और उन्होंने काफ़ी बढ़िया लिखा है उनके लिए, प्रसाद साहब के लिए हमारी किताब में। और ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज़ नथिंग टू मेंशन बिकॉज प्रसाद साहब तो लिटरली मेरे को बोलते थे यार हमारे लिए तो अगर चेले हैं तो अभय कुमार सिंह साहब है। साफ मेरे को कहा है। और ये मैं इसलिए नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि यहाँ NHPC की टीम बैठी है, पर मैं जो पर्सनल जानता हूँ तो मैं सच बोलूँगा। मैं क्यों, मैंने उनसे सच पहले भी सच बोलता था और कॉन्फिडेंस दे दिया उन्होंने कि डरो मत यार साहब, बोलो जो होता है, पीपल शुड रिसीव यू एज इट इज़। तो ये बहुत बढ़िया बात थी उनकी। ही वॉज नेवर अ डिस्करेजर। पीपल विल टेल यू दैट इन दिस फोरम यू डोंट स्पीक दिस, यहाँ ये मत करो। प्रसाद साहब से जो तुम्हारा माइंड है तो मन कर रहा हो बोलोगे आप साहब। मिश्रा साहब इज़ द कंस्ट्रक्टर ऑफ द मांगदेचो हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिक प्रोजेक्ट इन भूटान। इट्स अ वर्ल्ड क्लास प्रोजेक्ट, बिलीव मी।
Thank you, Ayer Saab. I'm really thankful to you for giving me an opportunity today to interact with the students, the stalwarts. As far as Prasad Sahib is concerned, I came in his direct contact in year 99. I was in his chairman secretariat. And I remember 2 occasions in which my interaction with him was almost one-to-one and deciding. Nobody else is aware of it. The decision making had taken place in such a way that it affected the project based on what we discussed, 2 of us. You see, in 99, Rangeet project was in commissioning stage. When the Prasad became CMD of NHPC, probably he made the commitment to Government of India for the first time that he will commission Rangeet project in year 99. And this commitment was made by him a year before. So that means after becoming chairman, his personal commitment to the Government of India that he will commission Rangeet project in 99. So it was for him a prestige issue. And he said to me, I was in his chairman's office, that you go to Rangeet and tell what is happening. Now I went there. I had a lot of colleagues, my personal friends. So it was a big dilemma for me. One side is chairman, another side your own friends. And those days there was no mobile. So I used to interact with him on landline number. And the chief engineer who was posted at Rangeet that time, he told me कि मिश्रा साहब आप को जब बात करनी हो chairman से, why don't you come in my room? He was living in the guest house, and talk to him. That means I am talking about his progress in his presence to chairman. So it was a big problem for me also. But then for the few days I was directly going to all sides and only with one objective, that if the chairman has committed to the government, how we can do it. That is the only purpose. So what happened when I started talking to him, Mr. Ramesh Chandra was the chief engineer, I decided that maybe this is going to displease him, because you are talking something which he may not like. But then धर्म संकट है कि आपको तो सच्चाई बतानी है chairman को. If I don't reveal the truth to the chairman, then when he will come to know afterwards, it will backfire. So I said, let me have that courage. Whatever is happening, I must say to him. So I started giving him the feedback. One of the occasion, he asked me on the phone. I was talking and chief engineer is listening, the concerned chief who is heading the project. I said, sir, if you want something to happen, the commissioning by December 99, the followings are to be done. He said, what is that? I said, we need new brand dozer, we need few concrete pumps, we need dumpers, heavy duty dumpers, a big list. So he said, मुझे तो आज तक बताया नहीं किसी ने कि ये सब चाहिए, तो now you are telling me in the commissioning year ये सब चाहिए. मैंने कहा सर इसके बिना नहीं होगा. So he said, अच्छा तो आप मुझे नोट भेजिए. So I said, okay. So I prepared a note signed by me. I went to Ramesh Chandra ji that kindly recommend it. He said, no, मैं recommend नहीं करूँगा. Why? Because he was reporting to the then ED projects, Mr. Paul Verma. Now he's no more there. So he said, वो वर्मा जी नाराज हो जाएंगे, मैं तो नहीं करूँगा, आप भेज दो इसको. तो मैंने कहा ठीक है, अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आप नहीं डिस्कस करेंगे तो मैं भेजता हूँ. तो मैंने उनको भेज दिया. You will not believe, Prasad Sahab ne, he took my note as it is and approved all those equipments which are newly to be purchased from the funds of Teesta 5. Teesta 5 was about to come those days. So he said approved by today itself. Note came back. No, it went. उन दिनों fax machine होती थी. There was nothing else. So within an hour we got a reverse approval, approved by the CMD. मैंने उनको दिया रमेश चंद्रा जी को कि आप इसको खरीदिए. तो दो तीन मिनट तक वो देखते रहे. What is this? I said, सर अगर ये नहीं करेंगे तो इसका अंजाम आपको पता है क्या होने वाला है. नहीं मैं तो आज ही खरीदता हूँ. So he started, putting the tenders and the equipment mobilized. Of course, it was purchased on account of Tista 5. Money came from Tista 5 fund, but for Kurichu, for the Rangit. So this was the first time when both of us interacted on one-to-one basis, and those equipments arrived, and we did it. This project was done in December '99. And the chairman was there when machine was spent for the first time, and he felt so happy. I was not there because I said to the person who took over, Mr. S.C. Sharma took over afterwards. So I said, sir, my job is done. I am leaving. So I left few days before. He wanted me to stay. I said, sir, no, I will go back to headquarters, and now the project is done. So what I'm trying to say, that this much faith he had on me just by having the true interaction. Means we were one-to-one, and I said if something goes wrong, he will definitely not going to pardon me because it is his prestige at the stake. This is one thing. Second, what happened when we were doing the project, the same project, Rangit project, there was a bridge, a steel bridge, which was hit. There was a hydromechanical trailer was coming, bringing some gate equipment, and in the night, probably the driver made a mistake, and he had head-on sort of a collision with the bridge member, and the bridge collapsed. And it was about 28 or 30 meter span bridge. So I said, Prashad Saab, because by the time we developed a good repo, direct talk. So I said, sir, the bridge is gone, and if we want to do the project even now, then we have to have the some valley bridge from the army immediately. So he said, okay, let me try. So he talked to Ajay Prasad, who was the then Secretary Defense that point of time. So probably he gave him the number to the Eastern Command Lieutenant General sitting at Calcutta. So Mr. Prasad, after my feedback to him, himself, without talking to anybody, he had a talk with the Ministry of Defense, then the Lieutenant General, and then give me a feedback that, Mishra, it is not possible to arrange this size of span of bridge immediately. Think of alternative. Now, alternative is what? If the bridge is not there, what is the alternative? So what I did, I inquired nearby that area that whether we have a PWD old bridge available somewhere. So somebody told me that the similar size bridge is available, which was dismantled and lying somewhere in jungle. So I went with the vehicle and located a person who did that bridge erection work. So I located the bridge in some far off area. And when I came back, I said, Prashad Saab, sir, bridge is available. But then I don't know, the problem is that we can't identify because there's no drawing. So I can't identify what is the top chord, which is the bottom chord, which is the diagonal member. I am not aware of it. And there's nobody to erect this bridge. And Prashad told me, what can be done? So I said, sir, I will do it in a different way, but then I need your help. What is that help? I said, sir, you send somebody from Gammon, a design engineer. We will modify this design a little bit, and we'll try to use this bridge. You will not believe, he immediately talked to the MD of the Gammon in the night itself. And morning that fellow was on air, and he landed at my place. By the time we decided how to do this, how to use that old bridge, and we did it. It was done in a different way. We calculated how much depth of the bottom chord is required, and we modified the bottom chord, and we erected it in a different manner and did it. You will not believe that one-to-one, Prashad Saab told me that had you not been there at that situation, I would have lost this opportunity of commissioning the project, and would have been a big blame on us. So Prashad started looking towards me in a faith that whatever he's telling me, he's meaning it. So he was supporting me blindly. That is the two instances I had at Rangit, and then he said, you go to Kurichu. So when I came to Kurichu from there in Bhutan, he committed for Kurichu also, government, that I'll commission the first unit without seeing the project. Sometime he used to be so enthusiastic. He said, I'll do this first unit, say, by 2001 March. When I reached there, I said, sir, there's no service bay in position, service bay is sinking. We have not gone down into the bottom of the powerhouse. Excavation is still going on. And this sinking, the whole thing, the whole structure is sinking. How we can do it? He said, मैंने commitment दे दी है. Now you people have to decide. So what to do when the chairman has committed? So then we started reworking on it. How to stabilize that spillway, how to, that structure, whatever we did, how to do it, how to stabilize it, and how to use that. And then in the process, we did a lot of permutation and combination, succeeded in stabilizing that structure. We could use it. It's a very, technically I can say that if you can imagine that the girder which carries the EOT crane rail, it has got inserts in the bottom because it is tapering down. Never it is done. No electrical engineer or a mechanical engineer will ever approve that you are putting a rail with the inserts in the bottom of different depths to just maintain the top level. That means whatever sinking has been done, we are accounting for, and we are making the level same. It's never done. Nobody will approve, but it was done. And then we commissioned that project, as Prashad said, in March 2001. He brought the secretary power that time, and you know I remember few of his large-hearted decisions. One of the decisions that when I asked him one-to-one that, sir, I have only one set of shutters. I have to do Tunian beam in the dam in the front, and I have to do the breast wall in the front and the Tunian beam in the back. या तो ये बनेगी या ये बनेगी, तो दोनों तो एक साथ नहीं बन सकती. Contractor doesn't have. तो he said, यार तुमको जो अच्छा लगता है वो करो. तो मैंने कहा साहब मैं इसमें जॉइंट डाल देता हूँ. कहता है अप्रूवल लेके तुम कुछ नोट बनाओ, अप्रूवल लेके बात करो. तो मैंने I wrote a note कि sir, we have to create a construction joint at this point, and we will have this work done afterwards, but meantime we'll raise the breast wall so my deck can come. So he approved verbally to me. When I put it into the paper and put to the designers, they refused. They said, no, this is not possible. It has to be monolithic. Now, but it is between chairman and myself, only two. And we have done that. And now the people are going back. So Prashad called the designers, I remember, and he said, I have taken a decision. आपको देखना है कि कैसे करना है इसको, करना पड़ेगा. And he said this. And I remember the designer said in his chamber that, sir, it is not a technical problem no more. It is an administrative decision. You approve it. If something happens, you are responsible. No, that is what has been said. Then Prashad asked me one-to-one, are they correct? Because he was an electrical engineer. I said, sir, just to have your confidence up, I can do one thing, that I will go tomorrow to Professor Gupta, IIT Delhi. I'll bring him to you, and he will give you a perspective which is neutral. What we have done is correct or not. So he said, okay. Next day we went there. I went to IIT Delhi in my own car. Gupta साहब को मैंने request, he was my guru. उनको मैंने गाड़ी में बिठाया. मैंने कहा सर आपको चलना पड़ेगा आज. तो आ गए वो. And he went into the room of Prashad साहब, chamber, and then Prashad साहब called the then ED, Sharma साहब. तो उनको बोला कि ये गुप्ता साहब आ गए, इनसे बात करिए. वो मुझे उनको लेके वो अपने कमरे में चले गए. Sharma साहब very furious on me, because I was a part of design for a long time, and then at the site I have done something which he was not liking. So when Mr. Gupta went there, I'm just telling you in my presence it is happening. Sharma साहब के कमरे में जब Professor Gupta गए, you know what he asked? Mr. Gupta, from where did you B.Tech? तो गुप्ता साहब ने कहा कि I am B.Tech, M.Tech, PhD from IIT Delhi. थोड़ा कूल डाउन हो गए. फिर उन्होंने कहा कि आपने ये कैसे अलाउ कर दिया? तो उन्होंने कहा मैंने देख लिया है इसको पूरे डिज़ाइन को, एंड आई एम श्योर कि जॉइंट से फ़र्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है. तो वो चुप हो गए. तो हम नीचे आए. मैंने कहा सर अभी भी अगर आपको तसल्ली नहीं है, अगर आपको अभी भी लगता है, बिकॉज इट इज़ मॉरली आई एम पुटिंग समथिंग ऑन योर शोल्डर्स, कि अगर कल को बीम फेल हो गई लोड आने पे, तो यू विल हैव ए बैड नेम एंड द होल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन विल हैव ए बैड नेम. देन क्या कर सकते हैं? मैंने कहा सर वी विल गो फॉर ए न्यूमेरिकल मॉडलिंग ऑफ द वन बे, वो हम एनालाइज करते हैं। उस वक्त नीसा सॉफ्टवेयर मार्केट में आया हुआ था। मैंने एसईसी को रिक्वेस्ट किया कि भाई देखो इसको नीसा पे एनालाइज कराओ। वी कॉल्ड अ डिज़ाइनर फ्लोन फ्रॉम चेन्नई to Prashad's room and said, sir, he will be doing the job, and that was done. It was proved कि कितने 38 डिग्री के एंगल पे वो पियर के अंदर लोड जा रहा है, and some of the bars are overstressed, some of the bars are understressed, and this beam is not going to fail because of these reasons. So what I'm trying to say that Prashad took those decisions in the larger interest. He had no other interest but to do what he has committed to the government, and he was so committal. एंड देन अरे करना है तो करना है, मतलब इतनी हिम्मत होना गवर्नमेंट के अंदर, इट्स नॉट ए स्मॉल थिंग. आई हैव नेवर सीन एनीबडी हु कैन ओवर रूल मैनी पीपल इन द लाइन एंड प्रोवाइड द अप्रूवल. गो अहेड. दैट टाइप ऑफ करेज आई हैव सीन हिम, एंड आई एम रियली, मैं उनको नतमस्तक हो जाता था कई बार देख के कि क्या आदमी है ये, इसको डर ही नहीं लगता. मतलब ही वॉज दैट टाइप ऑफ पर्सन. So this is how we work together, and some of these things I remember because these were the nightmares for me also, because I am working for him and something happens. After all, it is not my career; his career is also doomed accordingly. But then God is there. जब आज आप अच्छे मन से काम करते हो तो somebody helps you, तो वो निकल जाता है. So apart from this, as far as the Iyer Sahib is concerned, he has organized this day. We have gone through the different thoughts and everything. One thing I would like to say that the Magdechu project, which is being talked about, 720 megawatt project, we have done in 7 years, and this 7 years has been because if you look chronologically, we could achieve this because all the chronological order works, whether it is tender or whether it is the execution or whether it is payments or whether it is the claims of the contractors, they have been dealt in tandem. No, today status I just tell you, PIB government has done, and we are very shortly expecting CCA, 5,110 crores. Against the DPR approved cost of 2,896 crores at March 2000 price level. This has been achieved simply because some of the things have been done unconventionally. They are not traditional things. Traditionally, nobody will try to do it. The crux of the issue is that if you want to find out a solution to a problem which is more radical in nature, it is only possible when you are radical in your thinking. Until you are radical in your thinking, you cannot find out a solution by conventional methods. That is the crux. Yes, you can commit. There are 50% chance of committing error. That's also truth. If you go for probabilistic analysis, there are 50% chance you may be wrong. There are 50% chance you may be right. But then if you decide in favor of the things right time, save the time. In a hydro project, time and cost are inversely proportional. If you want to save the time, the cost will go up. That is very, very natural. And if you want to adhere to the cost conventionally, the time will go up. So the main motive is we should control the time. Cost is a byproduct. The main focus should be that we must control the time. The cost, whatever happens, will be the outcome, which will not impact you so much because ultimately it is the project which starts generating. My project today has already generated 3,000 crore revenue to the government of Bhutan. This COVID time, during the COVID time, the Bhutan government didn't have the revenue from tourism. The biggest source of revenue in Bhutan is tourism. Hydro and tourism, these are two important components in Bhutan contributing to the economy. In last 2 years, they didn't have any contribution from tourism. It is all compensated by Magdechu. 3,000 crore, we are generating 3 billion units a year. 4 रुपए 12 पैसे हमारा रेट है. We generate theoretically 1234 करोड़ रुपए हमको एक साल में जनरेट करना चाहिए, बट वी हैव जनरेटेड इन फर्स्ट ईयर 1300 करोड़, उसके बाद फिर हमने करीब 1400 करोड़, और अभी मिला के मैं देखता हूँ तो 3000 करोड़ प्लस revenue has been generated in 2.5 years' time. It's a big money to the government of Bhutan. So what I'm trying to say that hydro is a solution to our problems, and we must aim, like Bhutan में जैसे अभी 30,000 megawatt is the potential, theoretical potential assessed, and exploitable करीब 22,000 megawatt है. Similarly, if you look at Nepal, the theoretical potential is about 90,000 megawatt, and exploitable is also about 80,000 megawatt. If we integrate Nepal and Bhutan with the Indian system, we can add more than 1 lakh megawatt through hydro in our system, say another 15 years or 20 years. Usse bhi zyada. Yes. So if we start integrating, the concept is now the countries are converging. Like Europe has converged, we should also converge. Once we start converging, that means the India, Nepal and Bhutan, they can converge on account of hydro. And if they converge, this is mutually benefiting. The Bhutan is highly dependent on us for a lot of things. And if they start exporting to our country, the whole power I am generating from Magdechu is coming to India through the Alipurdwar, the line which is going, from Biswanath Charali to Agra is a 800 HVDC line, which was underutilized. Practically, there was no power flowing. Now, because of our project, the power is flowing, the line is getting utilized. The entire northeast, we can stabilize and we can progress a lot of economically in those states very fast, especially the West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, because these are all adjoining states. You can integrate this entire thing into these states on the first priority. So what is the sense is that if we do it conceptually in a dedicated manner, hydro is a solution for our country, because now once we are promoting our whole concept is now converging into that we should encourage the renewable energy. Renewable energy is getting complemented by hydro. Until the hydro is in a backup, the renewable energy cannot sustain, because the daytime you can generate the renewable energy. The sun is available, you can generate the energy. The wind power is available, you can generate the wind power. But what about night? So you need the hydropower as such, associated with the conventional dams, you generate the power, and also the pump storage schemes. You generate another dam downstream, store the water there, pump this water again back to the original reservoir in the off-peak hours when the energy is available at a lesser price, and pump this water back, use that water again. That is called pump storage scheme. So pump storage, conventional hydropower plus renewables. This will make the whole system stable. That is also equally important. So this is how the thing should happen, and I am sure with such efforts of Mr. Iyer, at least somewhere it is getting registered. If you look 10 years from now, back 10 years, the acceptance has come. Even the government has started accepting the fact that hydro is a solution. Once, if you look 10 years back, it was never a thinking like this. That is why we had a lot of thermal plants. So my only issue is that all of us who are sitting here, they can propagate at least concept that this is how our country can grow. Thank you very much.
Since there was, everything is going topsy-turvy because time is the constraint again. So I would request that students, we have some certificates. So I wish that Chairman NDM kindly. Yeah, I thought, maybe we can have all of us, trying to help them out who are, by turn. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So, last time we organized on the 25th of March, we organized an online summit, basically focusing on solar, which was our Empower Solar 11th, but the other one was called Renewable Portfolio Obligation, in which all our hydro stalwarts were there. Goel Saab was there. Everybody came. We missed Mathur Saab. We keep missing him. But most of it, we came to the same conclusion that Mishra Saab just said that to even operate the other renewable energy without hydro आप operate नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि वो solid state है, and I don't want to discuss again, this is an engineering subject, because the flexibility of hydro is the key to even run the other renewable energy sources. Whether it's and we talk about thermal and solar mix. So these students attended that. Probably these are the first group of students whom we got them into it, and it's like a training program. जो हमारी कोशिश यही रहती है कि किसी तरह से लोगों को ये knowledge पहुँचे and various fields का. So these are the students. I am calling the name, and the certificates are here. So we will request each one to give one certificate at least if possible. वही अच्छा रहेगा. So first one is Apurva Kumar Dey, student of NDIM. May I request Mr. Dey to come? Is here? I don't see. वो बाद में आएंगे? अच्छा, so then we can keep it away for some time. So we can announce. Because I don't know who is there because I'm coming through serial. So Bhavna Kumari is there? हाँ जी, हाँ ठीक है, Bhavna Kumari. So maybe we can request Mathur Saab to give this certificate. Yeah, then we have Bhumika Sardana. हाँ, भावना कर लीजिए सर. आइए यहाँ आगे आना पड़ेगा, आगे आना पड़ेगा सर, आगे आना पड़ेगा. ये आगे इधर आ जाइए ना. हाँ, बाहर आ जाइए ना उसमें क्या. Congratulations. Then we have Bhumika Sardana. Then there is Devanshi Garg. I'm getting all girls' name, but there's a boy on the top. Huh? Then we have Karya Makar. Mayank. So please come and stand. Do you have Mayank here? हाँ, so let him come. So कम से कम कोई एक तो आया. आइए, गोयल साहब, kindly give the certificate to this. नहीं वो ठीक है, वो मुझे समझ में आ रही है, but this. निधि पांडे. आओ, कहता साहब, प्लीज थोड़ी तो मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. धर्मादी का साहब को वहीं से देना पड़ेगा, लेकिन बाकी सब आ रही है. नुपुर भाद्रा. नुपुर भाद्रा प्लीज. आइए मिश्रा साहब प्लीज. प्रशांत वर्मा, वेलकम. I think Sangeeta can give this. वो आप वहाँ से भी देंगे तो चलेगा. वहीं से दे दो. बस वो फोटो ले लूँगा. Sachi Priya. There, the girl is there? No. Sakshi Raj. You will represent. अच्छा ठीक है. तो मैं सारे आपको दे दूँ फिर. हाँ वो हैं तो जो हैं तो आ जाएं. श्रीका शर्मा. Those who are there must come. Shikha Sharma. Then Shreya Saxena. Tripti Singh. नहीं है. Apurva Kumar Dey. Again, I think all of them फिर अब एक साथ ले लो कोई एक. You can take them. That's what. I think together and then take it from Dharmadhikari sir. Let Dharmadhikari and our Rajiv Bhatnagar ji. हाँ वो ही बेटर है. वो एक ले लो. अच्छा पारदकर साहब थोड़ा मुझे आपको तकलीफ देना है. पारदकर साहब प्लीज कम फॉरवर्ड. एंड मे आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल्सो DP Goyal साहब and you, please come forward. आप आइए थोड़ा. And also भटनागर साहब, please. हमारे दो कोई बात नहीं. हमारे दो बड़े मतलब for 10 years we have not entertained any individual members into the Renewable Association, although say the people, we had the mandate. But now we have two very eminent members here, so I think this is a great occasion because I thought it will all happen digitally. They are joined as members and also our honorable fellows. So first one is DP Goyal sir. Aye. Please come. After sir, देना पड़ेगा आपको. हाँ. पारिकर साहब आपको. हाँ. Please come. These are the recipients for both fellowship from REPA as well as the certificate for life membership. And it's lucky that this event happened, so ये NDM में मिल गया, है ना? और एक हमारे के गुप्ता साहब हैं, प्लीज आप भी आइए. Sir, you guys are gems of this country. तो गुप्ता साहब कहाँ साहब? You also stand, is incomplete without. अभी मैं I want, because the time is less, I want Paritkar Saab to say a few words. I will not allow him to go to his seat. Paritkar Saab, please take the dais.
Thank you for giving this opportunity. आज का दिन एक्चुअली योगेंद्र प्रसाद साहब के लिए ही है. So I can share my one small experience with him. Actually, Parvati hydropower project, there I was a project head for a powerhouse package, and it was actually a project which was having a first time that multiple, more than 2 TBMs were being used. 2 TBMs were used in that whole project. So Prasad Saab ke liye it was definitely a very challenging, and it was to his heart. So once during certain interaction, he clearly said that if you feel that any decision which is at site may affect our critical schedule, you can directly approach me. There were no mobiles, so he has given one number and time also, that during this time you can call me. There were 2 occasions, but at least one was serious one. And I thought now he has made me responsible for moving this job and should not slip on critical path. So I just talked to him. He says, don't worry, you need not tell anybody, I will take care. And the way decision was taken down the line, so I can only say that no, it is not that only to take the decision, but it is a quality which is required, how to get the decision taken into the system, by the system. So that was a great experience which I had, and always we had a very lot of respect for him, even met at his house also. So this was a great occasion Professor Iyer has brought and gave this opportunity. Thank you.
So, as I told you all, Paritkar Saab is the builder of the Atal Tunnel, and also for sure the Anaram Barrage, and many other projects will come under him, and he is a stalwart. And let me also give the chance to Mathur Saab to say a few words, क्योंकि माथुर साहब ऐसे आदमी हैं जिनको बुलाया नहीं जा सकता, क्योंकि हमारे हर हाइड्रो सेमिनार में हमेशा रहे हैं. And thanks to his love that we have grown as entity which discuss hydropower in the country.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share my experience with Yogendra Prasad. We became managers together. Then he became a senior manager, and I was not given an opportunity because of the ranking and all that. That is not the question. And then he immediately went to Chukha transmission system way back 1986. And Chukha project was to be commissioned. It was an international project. And the transmission line was to be constructed by NHPC. And I came back from the hydro sector in 86 and transferred to corporate office. And then all of a sudden I was called by my chairman कि यार माथुर तुम जो है ट्रांसमिशन सिस्टम कमीशन कर सकते हो क्या? मैंने बोला साहब ऐसा है कि ज़िंदगी में मैंने अभी तक ट्रांसमिशन सिस्टम कमीशन नहीं किया है, लेकिन हाँ ट्रांसमिशन सिस्टम में कमीशनिंग का काम सिर्फ मोस्टली कन्फाइंड टू दी कमीशनिंग ऑफ द सब स्टेशंस है। लाइन की कमीशनिंग तो लाइन के रूट पे जाके देख लिया, ठीक है, जंपर यदि जल जाएगा तो जल जाएगा, लेकिन कमीशनिंग ऑफ द सब स्टेशन इज़ मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट देन कमीशनिंग ऑफ द लाइन्स। तो और ज़िंदगी में मैंने लाइन्स की कमीशन नहीं की है, सब स्टेशन ज़रूर कमीशन किए हैं। बोले अच्छा तुम जाओ। Mr. Yogendra Prasad was the CPM that time, way back 1986, and he saw my way of working for 1 month, and it took more than 1.5 years to commission entire project. But the day power had started flowing from Chokha, there was no problem from NHPC side in commissioning. The basic fact which I want to tell is that after seeing my way of working for 1 month, he gave instructions up to the junior engineer of all the 7 substations of Chukha transmission system कि मेरे से पूछने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, माथुर जो कहे वो पहले कर दो, बाद में मेरे को बताओ. This type of faith Mr. Yogendra Prasad had developed for me after seeing my working for 1 month only. And it is for the first time I had met him in the room of my general manager, that he is Yogendra Prasad. But after working with him for 1 month, he developed so much faith. Of course, transmission system was commissioned in time and blah, 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 but that is a separate thing. But the type of faith he used to generate on a person after interacting with him for short time, that is more important. And that was the quality Yogendra Prasad had. Another thing which has been frequently mentioned is decisiveness. Yes, he was a very decisive person. I'll appreciate his all decisions, whether it is ex post facto or whether it is for the future or not. And third thing which I want to mention is his straightforwardness. So these are the 3 qualities I want to mention about Yogendra Prasad. Faith in the subordinates or colleagues, and then decisiveness. And third is straightforwardness. जिस दिन चेयरमैन बने उसके बाद एक पहली मीटिंग मंत्रियों की और उसमें हाइड्रो के बारे में वर्चुअली जो गालियां मंत्रियों को निकाली है, मैं उस मीटिंग में प्रेजेंट था. वर्चुअली जितने भी पॉलिटिशियंस वहाँ प्रेजेंट थे, दे वर ऑल शॉक्ड दैट एक न्यूली अपॉइंटेड चेयरमैन ऑफ NHPC, which was considered a 2nd or 3rd grade organization that time, उस समय उन्होंने जो गालियाँ वर्चुअली, आई मीन आई कांट से उन्होंने गालियाँ निकाली, बट द टाइप ऑफ लैंग्वेज ही हैड यूज्ड फॉर डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द हाइड्रो, इट इज़ unprecedented. And because of this after he became chairman, then only people had started realizing that we need hydro. And during his tenure of so many years in NHPC, he at every forum they talked in his own way about the development of hydro. And but for hydro, he could not survive. Another thing he was mentioning a number of times in my presence and and later on also, that water. Ayer mentioned 50 liters. Now, for our survival, it is coming down to 32 liters. अब 32 लीटर में हम कितने, एक साल में 32 लीटर में कितने दिन काम चला लेंगे? और हम हाइड्रो की बात करते हैं, और हमारे आपके इस कमरे में और सारे हिंदुस्तान में जो है हमको पानी, पीने के पानी को नहीं मिलेगी। आज की तारीख में ये बॉटल 250 मिलीलीटर की हो गई है, किसी ज़माने में 1 लीटर की होती थी, आज के 250 लीटर की हो गई है। यदि हमने पानी का इंतज़ाम नहीं किया, हाइड्रो नहीं बनाया, फॉरगेट अबाउट द बाई प्रोडक्ट ऑफ पावर, पानी पीने का पानी का इंतज़ाम नहीं किया अगले 10-15 साल में, तो ये बॉटल जो है 100 मिलीलीटर की हो जाएगी। कॉस्ट को जाने दीजिए, लेकिन ये 100 लीटर की हो जाए, 100 मिलीलीटर की हो जाएगी। नंबर 1। नंबर 2, हम एक दूसरे को पानी के लिए मारना शुरू कर देंगे। मैं जिंदा रहूं या नहीं, लेकिन मैं ये प्रेडिक्ट कर सकता हूं कि यदि हमने पीने का पानी नहीं इंतज़ाम किया और जल्दी अगले 10-15 साल में, तो हम एक दूसरे को पानी के लिए मारना शुरू कर देंगे। आई एम नॉट ए डूम फोरकास्टर, बट दिस इज द नेगेटिव situation we may face if we continue in the manner which we are continuing today. Ayer may or may not agree with my radical views, but yes, it is a fact on the ground. Now, coming to the straightforwardness of Yogendra Prasad and decisiveness, lot of things are told, I need not to repeat. I thank you very much for listening to me.
Mathur Saab has been a fiery speaker in the past as well, and what he said is nothing wrong, because Prasad Saab's last points to me in the last year when I was interacting with him, what he used to tell me is, Professor Saab, ye to hamare, he was trying to build a project for local people in Bihar in Motihari. So after all these hydro projects, what he was working for, to give job to 5,000 youth in मोतिहारी, ये काम पे गए थे वो। उसमें उन्होंने जो फेस किया, लोकल करप्शन से लेके सब कुछ, उससे बात करते थे। आई डोंट वांट टू गेट इनटू डीपर थिंग्स इनटू इट, बट एक जनरल बात कह रहा हूँ। उन्होंने इसी तरह की कुछ बात कही। उन्होंने जो बात कही, अरे साहब ये तो अगर पानी वानी नहीं मिलेगा, बिजली नहीं मिलेगा और नौकरी नहीं रहेगा, तो लोग तो क्राइम पे चला जाएगा। These were his words, and that is what I am remembering. See, if we don't do development, we are sending our people to the zone we should not send. So I think I'm not contesting you, but I'm just adding the point of inflection, and we are seeing that happening. You know, because people are just struggling. You know, I was talking about, उन्होंने पहले क्या किया, एक मिनी शुगर मिल की तैयारी करी उधर। तो फिर उन्होंने मेरे को बताया, यार साहब ये चल नहीं रहा, इससे नहीं होगा काम। तो मैंने कहा सर फिर कुछ और कर देते हैं ना उसमें। तो ही यूज्ड टू नॉट डिस्कस इन डीप व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग ओवर देयर, और लोगों ने उधर भी क्या किया मुझे पता नहीं, पर एक बात उन्होंने कहा, मैं एक राइस मिल लगा रहा हूँ यार साहब, इससे शायद उनके काम हो जाए। क्योंकि शुगर की अभी समझ में आ रही है, बिहार में क्या हो गया है, शुगर का प्रोक्योरमेंट के बाद पैसा ही नहीं दिया जा रहा है। और इवन यूपी के अंदर भी ये हाल है कि माइनस वेस्टर्न यूपी वेयर इट इज़ सक्सेसफुल, शुगर केन क्रॉप इज़ नॉट गेटिंग पेड फॉर। अब ऐसे सब करोगे तो कहाँ से काम होगा। महाराष्ट्र इज़ नंबर 2 स्टेट इन शुगर केन। फॉर माई पराली एंड प्रेस मड एंड ऑल दिस वेस्ट, आई टू गो टू दिस इंडस्ट्री, क्योंकि तभी तो आप बायोगैस बनाओगे। और ये जो रेवोल्यूशन है, वहीं मेरे को ये सोल्यूशन नज़र आया कि CBG could be the great solution to incentivize these people to bring in, because otherwise, see, India is a country which has to practically go forward and tell the world that we must retreat our waste. And this is, our municipal corporations are incapable of doing it. We must force them, that they can't just, they want to tell, when the Swachh Bharat came, see, I talk openly. Swachh Bharat came, we said public should be aware and they should do it. I don't believe it. Public will do everything, but it is the governments and the policymakers worldwide, they must have the spinal cord to stand up. They can't go back to COP26 and keep discussing every now and then and not achieving anything on the ground. So I am very tough on this issue. I wrote to Antonio Guterres Saab that time and saying, ki, just don't come back on India on the thermal power. Because I will give you an answer. While I'm saying we go hydro and everything, हम thermal बनाना बंद नहीं कर सकते. Another 200 gigawatt I will need. America has 400 gigawatt for 300 million population, 330 million. India has only 205 gigawatts. So why we are being called a polluter? Just like that. So you UNESCO people are sitting here, please hear me. I'm not against we are the first champions. I'm a renewable energy president. But I want to say, please don't push India on this issue. You can push our thermal power plants and tell them, in all your thermal power plants, we want the pollution management system. This big green energy, I tell you, even coal say. For example, I'm telling, why do we want to lift coal? We have 384 billion tons coal. We remove the CBM, coal bed methane. The technology providers are right here in front of me. Best technology for coal bed methane. Then provide hydrogen out of that. So I'm very sorry, I'm telling you, whoever tells you green, blue, violet hydrogen is talking bull crap. All hydrogen is hydrogen. Hydrogen, take it from any source, is hydrogen. When you make, this is what they did to hydro. Hydropower, they said up to 25 megawatt it will be renewable. Then does it generate carbon after that? So these all we have heard, and I have fought this whole system. You know, because कहते हैं ना जोरू का भाई एक तरफ सारी खुदाई एक तरफ, वो कहानी हमारी भी है, प्रसाद साहब की है, उनसे सीखा हमने. You have to bulldoze sometimes. You have to tell them that if you don't hear me, you are on the wrong side. I'm very happy that that young girl is shouting from top of the roof in United Nations for our planet and climate change. But for God's sake, don't think that climate change is only affected by thermal power plants and pollution. I'm telling you the vehicular pollution. I'm an engineer, and therefore I'm still an engineer. At stalking speed of 60 kilometers per hour, if you don't operate your urban traffic, you are generating 100 times more carbon and other particulate emissions. So pollution comes mainly from road transport. India has a huge bottlenecks in the road, and we are generating most of our pollution from there and not from thermal power plant. I have not come here to support thermal power plant. I'm saying we will still go renewable, but India is trying to feed to every population 24/7 electricity. Unless the hydrothermal mix is there, and at least I build another 200 gigawatt, at least equal to US, who have only 330 million population, and I am 138 million. For God's sake, don't push India down the throat and say you only do the renewable. That's why our Prime Minister had to go and say, I'll wait till 2070, not 2050. India committed 2070. This is the reason. It's not coming out in the open, but that's the reason. Because we will have to be supported by the world, make power plants, but force the pollution management system. Sulfur dioxide emission has to be controlled. Nitrous oxide emission has to be controlled. Carbon dioxide emissions have to be controlled. Or carbon sequestration has to be done. Go for advanced technology interface. Do that. So, and then for God's sake, put hydro top renewable. There is no renewable like hydro, while we are generating the water at the forefront. With this, I think for our part, we are done. And I would invite IOCL, Anupam Hari, to please take it over from here. And thanks to all. And may I request Goel Saab, a short 2 minutes for us, because you are the only one who is left. Kathwas does not want to speak. He told me already. Kahte main aaya hu sunne ke liye.
Thank you. My colleagues on the dais, my colleagues of the dais. Well, when I look to the white paper, hydro energy white paper, India Hydro 2032, target 200 gigawatt. It gives me a very ambitious target, but this has to be achieved. It's not easy to do it. 2032, 200 gigawatt, 2027, 100 gigawatt. Right now we have done only about 46.5 gigawatt, another about 15 gigawatt under construction. It's a very big target. Achievable, but very difficult. Now we have to find ways and means how to do it. In my travel through hydro development, I have learned only one thing, that decision taking is one element which is the cause of major delays. I could learn it after the experience of Nathpa Jakadi, the Tala project, and the Karchambang 2. And finally, in the private sector, Karchambang 2, by taking decisions, I always used to say, decisions are to be taken yesterday. Decisions are to be very fast. In Tala, my colleague Mr. K. Gupta is here. We used to give the approvals like a bullet approval will go back. What Mr. Mishra said, that approvals will go on the facts, like that in Tala used to go. Approvals used to go like that. So we have to all sit collectively and find out ways and means how to do this. This is very important for the country, for all of us. And we are also the culprits of slowing down the pace of hydropower. Up to 2000, the pace was very good. But after that, it went down. One major reason I find is the delays in construction. We can put blames on XYZ, but that doesn't lead to any solution. I always say that construction period of 5 to 7 years is the reasonable, and all efforts by everybody has to be done to complete any project, big, whatever big, in this time frame, and it is achievable. And it has to be done, and we have to find ways and means how to do it. Joginder Prasad ji has been really a stalwart in hydropower development. I, for the first time, met him when I was in Tala project. We had board meetings. First board meeting was in Delhi. He was in charge of Kruchu project. We were from Tala project. We met informally in that meeting. And after that, the meeting used to take place regularly, board meetings in Delhi and in Bhutan. And Tala project was very difficult, as Mr. Dharmandkari would tell you. We made decisions very fast, and we wanted to implement the project in the fastest possible manner. In one of the board meetings, we interacted with Joginder Prasad ji. We said we want to make the river diversion within a year. And you will have to believe that HCC was given the work of dam and the related works. And we said, take the first blast, and we have not even signed the contract agreement. And the first blast of the diversion tunnel was taken, and the river diversion was done within 1 year. Mr. Joginder Prasad congratulated. He says this is the kind of work he wants to see everywhere. We wanted engineers, in fact, on deputation from Government of India and state government organizations. I went to Joginder Prasad ji in his office. I said, NHPC is a very big organization, and we want many engineers from your organization to implement this project. He says, well, Mr. Goyal, my hands are full. I have many targets of my own. I wish to even withdraw Mr. Khajanchi. You make some other arrangements. I can't spare anybody. Why don't you join NHPC? I said, I have not come to seek my employment. I have to come to seek engineers who can be associated in execution of this project, which is a prestigious project of the country. And Joginder Prasad, true to his word, he did not spare more than 2 engineers for Tala project. But I interacted with him. I never worked with him. I interacted with him informally in board meetings, outside the board meetings. He was a great asset for the hydropower development in the country. He was very strong conviction about the hydropower development, and he had a very strong will to go very far on its implementation. It's a pity that we don't have him today, but he had set forth a big goal to implement the hydropower project in a big way, which is really required for the development of power scenario in the country. And I can only wish that the path shown by him, we have to follow, all of us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you, sir. From here, I will take you all, and I would like to brief everyone about the long-standing partnership between IOCL and New Delhi Institute of Management for promoting Saksham, a Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas initiative. IOCL is a diversified, integrated energy major with presence in almost all the streams of oil, gas, petroleum, and alternative energy resources. New Delhi Institute of Management is the best management institute of India for industry linkages and the first and the only mentor-based school in India. Saksham is an annual month-long conservation awareness effort by the Ministry of Petroleum, Government of India, seeking citizens to participate in fuel conservation of health and environment protection and simultaneously help in reducing India's dependency on import of crude oil. This year, with the theme of Saksham, was about how we can ensure green and clean energy from 11th to 30th April 2022. The awareness initiative includes series of seminars across India by PCRA on clean and green energy and various related initiatives by the government on the following topics like transition towards gas-based economy, cleaner use of fossil fuel, road map of biofuel, landscape of emerging fuels like hydrogen, accelerate adoption of renewable energy, and many more. Since NDIM and IOCL have had a long partnership towards promoting an awareness of sustainable issues, may I request Senior Representative from IOCL, General Manager Mr. Anupam Hari, to please say a few words.
Thank you. Respected luminaries on the dais, off the dais, and the students of this university. Before I start something to say about the Saksham, मैं बताऊंगा कि I was feeling so humbled today sitting between batteries of luminaries, so experienced people that I cannot explain. लेट मी टेल यू कि मैंने तो योगेंद्र प्रसाद साहब का केवल नाम सुना था, लेकिन आप लोग के द्वारा उनकी जो चर्चा की गई तो आई कैन ओनली से कि ही वॉज ए ट्रू लीडर, और हमें दुख हो रहा है कि वो हमारे बीच नहीं रहे हैं। अगर रहते तो मैं ज़रूर उनसे मिलने की कोशिश करता। और एक चीज़ और मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि आप लोगों ने जितनी बातें उनके बारे में बताई हैं, ट्रस्ट मी कि उनके बारे में जो जीवनी जो अय्यर साहब ने बुक लिखी है, मैं यहाँ से जाने के बाद पहला काम यही करूँगा कि पहले मैं उस बुक को पढ़ूँगा। सक्षम, जैसा कि आप लोग को पता है, ये सब लोग ने यहाँ बात की हाइड्रो पावर की। हाइड्रो पावर क्यों ज़रूरी है? बिकॉज उसकी इनहेरेंट क्वालिटीज़ है, पॉल्यूशन नहीं है। वी रिक्वायर्ड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, वी रिक्वायर्ड सो मेनी अदर थिंग्स, बेनिफिट्स ऑफ हाइड्रो पावर। इट इज़ ऑल अबाउट एनर्जी से। बिकॉज आप स्टूडेंट्स अगर आंख बंद करके सोचे 2 मिनट की, अगर बिजली नहीं है तो क्या हो सकता है, आप इमेजिन नहीं कर सकते कि क्या हो सकता है। मतलब कि एवरीथिंग आज के दिन में जो भी चीज़ें, एवरीथिंग इज़ बेस्ड ऑन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी उत्पादन करने के डिफरेंट तरीके हैं, एंड वन ऑफ देम इज़ हाइड्रो पावर। इलेक्ट्रिसिटी तो उत्पाद की जा सकती है, लेकिन आज के दिन में सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है कि हम इलेक्ट्रिसिटी को मिनिमम पॉल्यूशन, सबसे कम पॉल्यूशन वे में कैसे उत्पादन कर सकते हैं। और मिनिमम पॉल्यूशन में अगर हम उत्पादन की बात करें तो पहला बात होती है हाइड्रो पावर की, सोलर पावर की, रिन्यूएबल पावर की आजकल हम लोग बात करते हैं। यहाँ पर बहुत लोगों ने सस्टेनेबिलिटी की बात की। अगर वो पावर सस्टेनेबल नहीं है तो हम आगे फ्यूचर में उस पावर का जितनी अभी आज हमें उससे फ़ायदा हो रहा है, उससे कहीं ज़्यादा हमें नुकसान होगा। तो अगर हमको पावर को जनरेट करना है और हमें पॉल्यूशन को कम करना है, तो एक और तरीका है जिसके बारे में पीसीआरए ने सोचा है, वो है कि हम पावर की ऊर्जा को हम लोग कैसे उसका प्रिजर्व कर सकते हैं, कंजर्व कर सकते हैं। एंड व्हाट आर द वेरियस मीन्स टू कंजर्व द पावर। अगर हम पावर को बचाएंगे तो दैट इज़ इक्वल टू जनरेशन। आपको कोई भी पावर आप जनरेट करते हैं तो उसमें कुछ ना कुछ आपका पॉल्यूशन होता ही है। ठीक है, हाइड्रो पावर में आप कह सकते हैं कि जनरेशन नहीं है, लेकिन हाइड्रो पावर को बनाने में, उसके बनाने में, उत्पादन करने में, बाकी सारे मटेरियल्स को बनाने में तो बिजली की खर्च होती है, और उस बिजली के खर्चे में कार्बन फुटप्रिंट होता है और आपकी पॉल्यूशन होता है। अगर सब चीज़ जोड़ेंगे तो पॉल्यूशन कहीं ना कहीं होता है, जिसमें मिनिमम होता है। तो आप देश में हर आदमी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जनरेट नहीं कर सकता या एनर्जी जनरेट नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन हर आदमी एक कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकता है कि हम इलेक्ट्रिसिटी या कोई भी एनर्जी को कैसे बचाएं। और बचाएंगे, जितना आप बचाएंगे, आप समझिए कि आप उतना उत्पादन करने में आप सहायता कर रहे हैं। मैं बहुत ज़्यादा आप लोग का समय नहीं लूँगा। ये जो सक्षम जो कार्यक्रम है, सक्षम कार्यक्रम का उद्देश्य यही होता है कि आप लोग के दिमाग में ये बता सकें कि हमें इलेक्ट्रिसिटी क्यों बचाने की ज़रूरत है, और एक आप लोग के अंदर एक हैबिट डेवलप कर सकें कि नहीं हमें एक बचाना है। और ये हैबिट हम तभी डेवलप कर पाएंगे जब हम रिपीटेडली, हमें सबको पता है कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बचाना चाहिए, कोई नई बात नहीं है और हर बच्चे जानते हैं, लेकिन तब भी हम लोग बहुत जगह जाते हैं, बिजली ऑफ स्विच ऑफ नहीं करते हैं, जहाँ ज़रूरत नहीं है वहाँ पर भी हम लोग लाइट करते हैं। तो हम लोग को ये PCRA का मकसद होता है कि हम सारे सेक्टर के पास, जो हमारा जो महोत्सव चलता है, सक्षम महोत्सव चलता है, इस सक्षम महोत्सव में हम सारी जगह जाते हैं, स्कूल में, कॉलेजेस में, ड्राइवर्स में, गृहिणियों के पास डिफरेंट वर्कशॉप करते हैं कि आप गैस कैसे बचा सकते हैं, ड्राइवर्स को बताते हैं कि आप अपना ड्राइविंग हैबिट कैसे चेंज कर सकते हैं। बच्चों में वो डेवलप इनकलकेट करने का शुरू करते हैं, शुरू से का बच्चों के दिमाग में बात हो जाएगी। जैसे कि स्वच्छ भारत अभियान एक चला, मैं देखता हूँ अपने बच्चों में भी कि टीवी में जो ऐड आई है, हम लोग जितने बच्चे में जागरूक थे स्वच्छता के बारे में, आज हमारे बच्चे उससे कहीं ज़्यादा जागरूक है। क्यों? क्योंकि वो शुरू से वो उस चीज़ को देखते आ रहे हैं कि स्वच्छ भारत अभियान करना है, हमको स्वच्छता नहीं करनी है, हमको डस्टबिन में देखना है। इतने ज़्यादा एडवर्टीजमेंट, इतने ज़्यादा उसका जो प्रचार हो रहा है, और हमें देख के खुशी होती है कि बच्चों लोग में ये भावना आ रही है। यही भावना हम लोग कंजर्वेशन, ये जो सक्षम महोत्सव बनाते हैं, इस सक्षम महोत्सव के द्वारा हम यही भावना सभी लोगों के बारे में, सभी लोगों को हम बताना चाहते हैं कि आप जितना इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बचाते हैं, आप मानिए उतना आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जनरेट करते हैं। तो इस विषय में हम लोग डिफरेंट बहुत सारे कार्यक्रम करते हैं, एंड आई एम ग्रेटफुल टू दिस यूनिवर्सिटी सर कि आपने हम लोग को अपॉर्चुनिटी दिया कि टू कम फॉरवर्ड और अपने इस इनिशिएटिव को अपने बच्चों लोग के साथ, यूनिवर्सिटी के फैकल्टी मेंबर के साथ हम आगे बढ़ा सकें। वी आर रियली थैंकफुल टू यूनिवर्सिटी टीम फॉर गिविंग अस दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी। थैंक ऑल ऑफ यू, partner of the Saksham activity. Thank you sir.
अनुपम, आपको ये 12 महीने करनी चाहिए। I will only say that is what will help the nation ultimately.
सर पहले ये होता था 15 दिन का, लेकिन अभी ये मंथ लॉन्ग चलता है। लेकिन कोविड के कारण ये 15 जनवरी से स्टार्ट होता है एंड इट कंटिन्यूज टिल 15 फरवरी। लेकिन कोविड होने के कारण इस बीच में कोर्ट था, ये प्रोग्राम डिले हो गया है। और ये हमारा जो एक्टिविटी है सर, ये हमारा साल भर चलता है, बट विद इन दिस पीरियड हम लोग एक पूरे रीइंफोर्स के द्वारा जो अपने जो पेट्रोलियम सेक्टर की इंडस्ट्री है, वी रीच आउट टू एवरी सेगमेंट ऑफ द सोसाइटी एंड वी ट्राई टू स्प्रेड दिस अवेयरनेस। इलेक्ट्रिसिटी सेव्स इज इक्वल टू electricity generation, and we must, every people in this society can contribute towards these things, towards a clean energy. Thank you sir for your advice.
Thank you, sir. On that thought, just to say that every year as a part of Saksham, various student-driven activities like debate competition, poster making, and essay writing competition are organized in institutions across India. These awareness activities were organized in New Delhi Institute of Management on 19th April 2022. Today, we would like to recognize a student who participated and won the competition at NDIM. May I please request Mr. Anupam Hari, Mr. Sumit Kumar from IOCL to come up on the stage and give away the awards. And also may I request Ms. Nivedita Banerjee from IV Public Relation and Communication to join them on the stage, please. And may I also request the student representative to come here to collect the certificates. Gayatri, Manvi, Sushmita Singh, Gunjan Kalra, Sahil Jaiswal, Vivid Shah, Harsh, Anushka, Aman, Harshvardhan, Shruti Singhal, Mayank, Aditi, Anubhav, Ravjot Singh Aluwalia, Siddharth, and Ritika Agarwal. बच्चे ऐसे दे दो, दिल टेक इट। Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm happy to introduce a background for the signing of MOU between UNESCO and New Delhi Institute of Management. This MOU will be signed as of today. It aims at achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goal 4.7 towards education for building peaceful and sustainable societies across the world. As a part of this initiative, UNESCO, through its Rethinking Youth program, in partnership with the Life University USA, has developed with self-directed emotional learning for empathy and kindness SEEK course and is partnering with New Delhi Institute of Management for furthering this learning. Through this MOU, the NDM students will get an opportunity to further enhance their skill in social and emotional intelligence and resilience, interpersonal skill, and holistic systems level thinking. May I now invite representative of UNESCO, Mr. Abel Kane, Senior Project Officer and Head of Youth Program UNESCO, MGIEP, Ms. Divya Chadda, Administrative and Finance Officer UNESCO, MGIEP, and Namita Rastogi, Program Assistant, SEEK, UNESCO, MGIEP, on the stage, please. From New Delhi Institute of Management, may I request our Chairperson, Dr. B.M. Bansal, and our Registrar, Dr. Tina Singh, to sign the MOU.
You were also there. Yes. Yeah, right. You're all right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, cool.
May I please request Mr. Kane to say a few words? Thank you.
Dr. Bansal, Dr. Singh, distinguished guests and distinguished attendees. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today. My name is Abel, and I have the privilege of working for a UNESCO research institute. The name of our institute is the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Development. It's generously supported by the government of India, and we are based here in New Delhi, but we're a global institute. It's one of 7 dedicated research institutes of UNESCO scattered all over the world. The focus of our institute is a very specific area of education called social and emotional learning. This is probably just a modern word for a set of concepts that are very ancient. In fact, I've been in India for 6 years, and I've always loved every minute that I've been here, because when you're in a country of a 7,000-year-old civilization, you find that the ancients, all the way from the Vedics till now, they've already discussed many of these concepts. Concepts of how we should learn about who we are, about who others are, and how we should relate to them. How we should relate to other humans, how we should relate to animals, how we should relate to nature. So thank you, Tina, for actually putting this signing ceremony within a hydro, within a sustainable energy issue. When I first saw it, I went, oh, was this deliberate? Because this is the first time we've actually done a signing within a conference, and it's poetically beautiful to us to do it in here. So what we do as a research institute, most of you are engineers, you're scientists yourselves, you know how this works. You have an idea, a hypothesis, you build something, you test it really widely across many different variables, different circumstances. So we have built digital pedagogies. COVID forced every university in the world, including every teaching institution in India, to try to go online. We were online before COVID. We were really lucky. Okay? We're also doing research on which is the best methods of teaching online. A lot of institutions just went with Zoom, just went with Google Meets, etc. Those are not the best tools to do things online. We've got research that proves this. We make teaching and learning products for all ages of learning. We make them for K-12, we make them for universities. I had the university program. We also make them for much older learners as well, because we must never stop learning. In fact, we have a particular product under development now. We call it SEL for Well, the polite name, the official name is leaders and decision makers, but for us that's basically SEL for old people, all right? But they should always keep learning. So thank you, Dr. Bansal. Thank you, Tina. NDIM is now the 9th educational institute that we've partnered with in the last, I think, 3 months. A very hectic schedule. You're a beautiful boutique institution. We have got some state universities, like Kurukshetra University. We've got 2 NITs. And then early May, we go to Gujarat, the state of Gujarat. We're very fortunate. The State Minister of Education, he loves this particular product. He would like all the HEIs, the higher education institutes in Gujarat, to offer this course. And we're signing this same agreement with the Gujarat Technological University and about 100 of their affiliated colleges. And so our goal at the Institute is just to try to roll across India, roll across South Asia, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and then after that, take it to the world. And it's very simple what we're doing. I hope you're very proud as Indians. It was fantastic to hear the story. I think that colleague has left about the elements and fire and water. It's the same thing with what we're doing at our institute. We're teaching how to be humans, how to relate well to other humans, and how to relate well to the environment. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Mr. Anupam Hari, I think we need a facilitation with our chairman, sir, Dr. V.M. Bansal. Okay, just a little thought, sir. Yeah.
Today is very auspicious day. World Earth Day is today. We are celebrating Earth Day.
May I please request everyone for a group picture, please, on the stage?
I will.
Group picture?
So it will be very difficult to recognize the person.
No, sir, definitely. One small group picture, please.
आप सर फोटो की तो आओ ना पहले आपके बिना तो फोटो अधूरी है
Yes, may I please request everyone to join us at the basement for a cup of tea? Thank you. Next to the library.
चलो कोई बात नहीं। I'll take this.
वेस्ट नहीं करना ना पानी। आपने तो कहा कि पानी के पीछे वर्ल्ड वॉर होगी। आपने तो कहा पानी के पीछे वर्ल्ड वॉर होगी।
होगी भाई होगी।